system?
Yeah, it's working.
All right. Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well this UK evening and this American late afternoon. And I thought that we'll, whilst we just give it a few minutes for folks who are finishing up from Maghrib, because that's what we've obviously just prayed here, although in London it was a good while ago, but and also in Manchester it was a good 15 minutes ago as well, but just in case. So we'll just wait for some folks to join, inshallah. Hope you're all well. I think that what we can do in the early moments before we start formally is to clarify this slander which is being thrown around way too lightly and too easily about my food recommendations. At no point did I ever recommend in any single way mixing chocolate muffins or chocolate anything with yogurt, anything, whatever the flavor. Haram, yani, to keep propagating this bakwas. Let's make it clear what happened. I went and I tasted the yogurt and I said, that's nice yogurt. Yani yogurt's yogurt, right? It was just low-level, mass market, breakfast buffet yogurt. All right. And that was done. And it was in its own place. Wa khalas. Then someone said, oh man, you know, the chocolate thingamajig, muffin or whatever it was, so it's nice, great. So I said, oh, I love a chocolate muffin. So I went and got a chocolate muffin. It was the driest, lamest chocolate muffin you could ever imagine. One bite, and as Dave Pointer says, one bite, everyone knows rules. So I took that bite, and what am I going to do? I'm going to be like you, wasteful packies, and throw the whole cake away. I'm not that guy. I don't throw things away, bro. Whatever happens, someone's eating it. Even if we're forcing it down ourselves, we're eating it. So I said to myself, there's only one way that we can make this chocolate muffin thing, dry bakwas, recover. There's only one way. I'm going to go and get the yogurt. It's going to add a bit of moisture, add a bit of you know what I mean, right? Obviously, it's a crazy clash of taste, but I mean, like that stops anything at any time when people are eating. What did I have the other day? Clashes don't necessarily fail all the time, by the way. The sour cherry cheese, ricotta cheese ice cream option in Jaluppo in London, I guarantee you will be one of the best ice cream flavors you've ever had. How does that make sense? I've got no idea how it makes sense, but it is. Sour cheese and ricotta, sour cherry ricotta cheese. Kind of 2 flavors a day. Well, anyway. So, and then someone stuck a camera in my face. They said, what are you doing? I go, what do you mean what I'm doing? They go, what are you doing here? I said, go back and see the video. Guess what? Guess how I know this? Because I just watched the flipping video. I just watched the video like a couple of days ago. So they said, what are you doing? I said, this is what I'm doing. And so I salvaged the thingy. Okay. I salvaged the whatever. And alhamdulillah, it was all right. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. I'm recommending it. I'm not telling everybody this is going to be the greatest dessert you had in your life or the greatest breakfast. And then in Turkey, same situation occurred. Someone told me it's a great thingamajig, picked it, dry as bakwas. Then I recorded a video. I actually actively recorded a video saying, folks, let me help you here. That if you come across, listen, it's all there. I've got the receipts, okay? The videos are there. Go back and look at the video. The video says, if you come across in a lame breakfast buffet bar, mediocre level yogurt, mediocre level thingamajig, you can create acceptable level thingy. Fully serious right now, Nabila. I'm telling you right now. Qassam, they spread hardcore slander against my food choices. Hardcore slander. That's what I said. I said, this is how you avoid everything getting wasted. This is the way, blah, 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 blah. So this is, now I think that everybody that's going to come is here. That's how you Instead of, doing the other way. Where's everybody coming in from? Say hi. What's your city? Write your city down. If this Hafsa doing a Maghrib thing and she's just, creating some kind of, trying to play for time, that's how she'd do it. What did I do? I decided.
Yes, what I don't understand is why you got seconds. You got seconds. You're trying to make it sound like, oh, it was this accidental
All right.
thing.
Okay, that's a really good point. That is as good a response I've heard. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. Now, the slander, I enjoyed it.
And then Akila went and got some.
Yeah, because it was an okay type of product. But we got to make it clear, at no point did me or Aqil go around telling the people, guys, this is a new viral food craze and everybody needs to get on it. In fact, I will quote Aqil. He said, I'm missing this. I'm going to get some. He kept it personal, honorable, respectful way. We just, there was a taste to it. I am not going to lie. I enjoyed it. But it was a good point. I like your point. I like your point with that. Well done. All right, folks. So this is a second second webinar or whatever you want to call it. There's no formality to this, folks. Yeah, I just want to share a few ideas and a few points, only for a few minutes, and I want to catch up with you folks. Actually, what I'm more concerned about is to make some discussion, some Q&A, some back and forth, whatever. Because if you're asking me, what I should be, is there some kind of formal thing to be said or not? The answer is no. Ultimately, the big question on all of our lips, and I'm going to structure this very hopefully around a question that I was sent via email, which is how do I practically move forward with Hajj? And I think in the hearts and minds of everybody, or most people, they believe that they believe that there's like some like very a structured way of being able to ensure success by doing one or two sessions afterwards. That's just not true. So let me answer that question, and in answering that question, that's pretty much Yanif what I want to say from my side. And it's actually only regurgitating stuff that we've been speaking about on the group, and with that worded very well a couple of weeks ago or a month ago or whatever, and she's alluded to it very well in her piece as well. And so I don't mind, going over those points again. But I opened up this kind of discussion about a few days after we came back, where I said that Hajj is not meant to be this life-changing thing. It can be incredibly emotional, incredibly spiritual. I was speaking today, actually over the last few days, huge amount of time, with one of the ladies who went to Hajj last year, who has been really struggling, right? And I was, in my heart and mind, I was given a heads up, that I like to try to research into people, understand what their individual kind of situation is as much as I possibly can. It's very difficult to do that, but as much as I possibly can, so that I can tailor my things that I say when I see them, whenever I see them. And I knew that she wasn't a hijab wearer. And I knew that, that was something that she was hoping for some help with. And so, I was kind of keeping her in mind a lot of the time. And then, I told her this is her big chance, and she didn't take that chance. She basically, without being rude or without being whatever, she bought it at the last moment. Couldn't make that decision to go into work with it. And it wasn't that she didn't want to do it, but she missed the chance. And as I said to you guys before, that when it comes to making a big change to previous behavior, it's very interesting in the feedback that we went through. And this is one of the reasons why we're doing this now, because I've gone through a lot of the feedback, and it's a lot of very interesting points, a lot of very useful points, a few invalid points as well, but I think they were in a very, very small minority. There are a lot of people that were saying, I'm not necessarily any further down the line than I was before. Guys, this is something to celebrate. This is not necessarily something to be depressed at. It means that you were on the straight and narrow before, and alhamdulillah, you're on the straight and narrow after, with a few added benefits. Okay? And It's not like the Hajj is meant to turbo boost your deen. For what reason? In actual fact, it could be the opposite. It could be the opposite. Just think about this rationally. If you're a practicing Muslim, or if you're like busy in deen and da'wah, Hajj is a what? A disruptor. That's what it is. Like if I look at, I'll give you a classic example. If I didn't go to Hajj, all of my LP students would get an extra 2 months a year of the academic year. A lot of folks are asking, why is there no LP? Why is there no LP? We take the summer off, okay? And the summer is to allow me to be with my family and be away and not have to think about LP at all, because there's a lot that goes in. And not just me, but the whole team, like Shazad and Widad and everyone. You know, they need just a full break, yeah? Because it's every week and it's all action and everything. So the theory is that it's meant to be just the summer holidays, just the summer period. In actual fact, what happens is that it turns into nearly 4 months of an academic break. Ramadan, okay, we allow for that. That's fine. You know, most people stop teaching. That's fine. But then the period in between, Hajj gets in the way of the development and the study and my reward and my focus in developing people and all of the students and them being in the game of studying. Hajj should not be a disruptor, but it is a massive disruptor for what I think could be my rewards from ibadah, my quality of my ibadah. If you're a student of knowledge, your development. And I want people just to calm down a little bit on what Hajj is actually meant to be. Now, I know that they might, hold on, you made out to be this and made out to be that. Absolutely. I can't think of a better act of worship. I can't think of a better experience. If I'm going to break and disrupt my whole schedule for teaching, that is what I want to spend 3 weeks doing. Having the fun, having the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the Iman buzz. I was at Hajj. How many times have I done Hajj? How many times have I done Hajj? It should be the most boring act or the most repetitive act or the most normative act or the most irritating, annoying act, because it's so hot all the time and so stressful all the time. But I absolutely love it. I go through the same thing. I think, oh my God, man, how am I going to be? And then when we get there, it disappears within 5 minutes. And then it's just a buzz, an Imam buzz. And you're just meant to enjoy and embrace. And when you come back, guess what? You're not in the Iman buzz embracing Hajj kind of, environment anymore. And you've got to, that's part of the being real about yourself and being real about managing your expectations. And I always found that it's really important for us to keep repeating this to ourselves, because if you don't, and you have these unrealistic expectations or beliefs, then your Iman starts to fluctuate. When you do something unnaturally, you will always impact upon the quality of your deen. It's an easy example is character worship, right? Or being obsessed with figures, or celebrity scholars, or loving Mufti Menk too much, or AE too much, or Yasmin Mujahid too much, or Nouman Ali Khan is the perfect example. There were people that were absolutely obsessed with Nouman Ali Khan, and they were not able to separate the knowledge and the benefit from the character. And when he went through a trial of fitna and all of the things that happened and whatever, blah, 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 people were openly like, man, that's it. I've had it with this deen. I've had it with or my Iman is so low, or this, that, whatever. And it really exposed to a load of people just how poor quality their deen was, in that it was connected to individuals as opposed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's deen, his knowledge, his blessings, and everything that it should be in the generic, general sense. And so, likewise, that we don't worship people, we also don't worship structure. Okay? And that's why you often hear, not that I don't think I've ever used this any cliche. It is a poor and a cheap cliche. Maybe it's unfair to say poor, but you do often hear the khatib say, whoever worships Ramadan, then it's over, or something. I think they say something like that. They got some clever phrase for it. Then Ramadan's finished, and whoever worships Allah, then it keeps continuing. But the sentiment is correct, right? You see everybody hit a peak in Ramadan, and then it kind of goes. I don't know what the wording is, but you see this kind of sentiment oft repeated. And the biggest skill that I've always told my close students and those who are in LPN, those people who give their time to me to listen to what I'm saying and mentoring and explaining. The biggest skill is to cut through all of the artificial ways that we try to present this religion, right? And to realize that the only way of success in this life, my brothers and sisters, it doesn't matter whether you're the biggest scholar in the world or the biggest ignorant in the world, whether you're practicing for a long time or you're just starting practicing right now. The biggest source of success is to have a self-sustainable Iman battery that can be constantly charged and constantly give power. You cannot rely upon other people, other events, other trips, classes, company. What all of these need to be leveraged. All of these need to be used to help you. But ultimately, we are the religion of pure Tawheed. That's what Tawheed is. It's you and Allah. And anyone who removes the focus from you and Allah will be the people who will suffer. And the level that you will suffer will depend upon your religion. Because there are some people that will absolutely delegate everything to something that other than Allah, and that's called shirk. And that's why you see so many people that come from Christianity, and I've spoken about this, Roman Catholicism and the like, where and Hinduism and Sikhism and all the other kind of shirky type of faiths, or even old school Christianity through Jesus. Yani, the idea is that there's always relying upon somebody else, asking somebody else, getting help from somebody else, or always relegating or delegating your spirituality and your iman to another structure, to another entity, to another reality, as opposed to just relying upon Allah alone. And people realize the folly of that. They get let down very quickly. They realize the folly, and then they turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All then to what happens? They turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they become Muslim, and then people start to do the same thing within Islam. In Islam, you start to make Ramadan the entity, you start to make the Hajj the entity, you start to make your Imam the entity, you start to make the scholar your entity, you start to make your, whatever, which are all just means. And so it's so important for this message to be clear, and it should be clear from the very, very beginning. Right? Yes, it will be life-changing for someone who's not practicing, because it will be the first time you hear these kind of messages. It will be the first time that you see Islam being presented in a certain way, and you think, oh my God, I didn't know that. All right, I'm not going to take it seriously. Or it's the first time that you're starting to get company and good people that you got access to, and so that obviously helps. But for the majority of people who choose to go Hajj, they're pretty much practicing. They just need a bit of fine-tuning. They learn a few things they didn't know. They get access to a scholar or two. They get a bit of mentoring from me. They got access to people and more information, right? It just improves access. I don't want people to create false edifices for themselves, and to create false expectations that they have to hit this target now. They've got to feel like this now, and that have I lost that post-Hajj motivation? No, you don't. You haven't. And I really hope that you understand. And then, after I've said what I've said, I want you then to go back and read what Widad wrote, okay? What she wrote about the concept of loneliness and the way that she phrased it, which of course the Prophet ﷺ perfectly summarized, فَطُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاءِ. And so glad tidings to the strangers, to the folks that are going to do this alone, to those folks that are going to be made to feel like, what's happening, right? It's a lonely, it's a boring, lonely, quiet struggle out there. It really is. Because everything other than that, the fun, the buzz, the excitement, the whatever, is basically describing the dunya. It's basically describing people just enjoying their life in a way that's hedonistic, that's a madness, that's a FOMO, that's a you only live once, that is all this, that is all those phrases and people, the way that people make these things to be. So I really think that that's important. People are looking for something magic and something, quick fix, but there isn't. And when we are putting forward what is the way to maintain the Hajj buzz, what is the way to maintain that increase, people are not actually doing that. So And I can understand why, because it might look like self-promoting. It might look like there's other agendas going on. So when I say, right, guys, you need to attend this class, you need to go to this seminar, you need to download this lecture, you need to sign up to this course, you need to read this book, you need to attend this weekly circle online every week without fail. People are like, yeah, you know what? What's new? What's different? What's, yeah, you know, I've seen that before as well, blah, blah, blah. Or he's just promoting things, or he's just selling things, or whatever. And that's natural. That's a human cynicism that's built into us. We can only try our best to explain that even if all that was true, even if I was in some kind of business and I was trying to make money out of everybody or whatever, whatnot, that would still not disqualify the fact that that is the actual best way to improve yourself and to stay in the buzz and to enjoy good company, whatever. Now, the facts are is that I don't have a business in that sense. I don't profit from you taking this path as opposed to another path. But what I do feel is a sense of confusion about when you set out a path for folks and say that this is now a community that can help you. This is, and the reason that I am saying this is actually one main reason, and then is cemented by this experience with the sister from last year's Hajj. Because I'm just going to use her as an example, but I'm going to answer the first point. And that is the reason that I wanted to say this is because a lot of people were saying we're just confused about the tarbiyah. They're thinking that there's some kind of magic concept or a lesson called the tarbiyah lesson. And in it, you learn a certain few things and bam, it's all done. They didn't actually understand the word tarbiyah from the first place, which I did explain, and a few of you confirmed that in the group as well. Tarbiyah is a slow burn. Tarbiyah is the process of rearing a plant, rearing a child. It has to be, you know, every day. You got to sow it. You got to feed it. You got to fertilize it. You got to give water to it. And you got to take it easy. And you got to then protect it. So when it's a little sapling, you got to protect it. And then it starts to take any shape. So then you can take away the cover. Then it starts to bloom. Then you got to this, that, whatever. That's what tarbiyah is. Let alone in a child, let alone in a student. It's a long, slow burn. And I always want to say to you that there's a whole load of you that are already taking full advantage of that. All my time, all the whatever, checking things with me, this, that, blah, 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 which is not very sustainable, but it's, you know, that's what they're doing. And that's what you got to understand, that in the formal sessions that we have. So for example, last year they were desperate for Protect This House, because most of the things that we have that need to be sorted out when we go back from Hajj is the realization of our relationships and our family and our children and whatever. And that's always the biggest thing. The problem is that Protect This House went through a really major kind of release. It's an online class which is purchased and it stays in your Al Maghrib account for forever for you to watch and rewatch. It was released in, like, I want to say 21 or 21 or 22 or something, 21 or 22. I think 2021. And subhanAllah, I just got told that it's going to be released in the next month. Nobody knows that. It's secret. Don't please go and telling it. I mean, it's not the biggest secret in the world. Like, nobody knows, but I don't want you telling people. I'm just telling you guys that you guys are very fortunate, because that's actually what the folks last year were really desperate for. And because most of them had no idea about what I teach or what I do. And so it was understandable. Many people have taken Protect This House. It's a very, it's a classic Al-Maghrib class, but it's a very, in my eyes, a very, very important one. It contains a load of tarbiyah principles and development principles and important rules about life that need to be implemented. As I understand, in the next 1-2 months, it's going to be released again online for everybody to be able to partake in. And it's a high quality thing. And, you know, you'll be able to use that and leverage off that for further development as well. And development doesn't need to be in some kind of unit knowledge either. Development can be in a certain area. Development can be in a certain realization that I'm just far too angry. I just need to chill out more. That I've realized that there's another race of ethnicity, another ethnic kind of group that I've never, interacted with before. And during Hajj, I realized that there's so much benefit to take from those people. I'm going to start doing that, right? Like, I'll give you a small example. There are folks who had absolutely no idea that the Somalis at the moment are killing it with the Quran. And they were seeing Somalis in their community and knew that there was a Somali masjid, and they had absolutely zero affinity to it. Seeing Sheikh Abdul Ghaffar, realized, hold on, what am I missing out here? Heard us speaking about this whole thing, and now they're starting to go to that masjid. And now that their whole Quran game is increased. That's our group, by the way, right? You and the way that you improve and whatever is entirely going to be personal, but based upon the principles of the slow burn, emphasizing principles that you probably already know, and having folks available to help and support, resources and the like Danish yesterday or the day before, sharing that Sheikh Akram is teaching here, teaching there. I didn't know, right? If I was a student, I'd jump at that. Sheikh Akram's a fantastic scholar, right? He's coming to the States. Someone said he's doing some hadith, whatever. For those who are in the States, yeah, I get that whole Texas hate. But the thing is that it's an opportunity, right? The whole point is you want to say, oh, well, I see that. I don't see anything. I'm not on social media. I don't get to see anything. I remember I think Widad wrote, I was thinking about this today, subhanAllah. Widad said, I didn't see it on his Telegram group. And I thought, Telegram group, for bloody hell. I said, can you imagine being just a normal Muslim? Like, not to, Widad is anything but a normal Muslim, but just imagine, using her as an example, that she must have loads of Telegram groups. Like there must be an Akram Nadwi group, there's an LP group, there's a Hajj group, there's a whatever group, there's a local mosque group, there'll be, an Al-Maghrib group, there'll be a Y group. Your basic Muslims are probably going to have all these groups where they take gems from, study from, whatever, whatnot. Bro, I thought about that for a second. I thought, no wonder people don't access Telegram as much as I do. Because I find I access Telegram a lot of the time because I'm not a member of a single group. My only groups are my people, you lot. Like, every single one of my groups are just you folks. And therefore, I'm so happy each time to jump in and, chill, chat, relax, answer questions. I have the least idea of anything that's going on, or gems, or adverts, or events, or whatever, unless someone tells me, unless Widad sends me something, or the chief sends me something, or someone sends me something directly. So I'm just like, I thought to myself that no wonder that, honestly, if it wasn't in some of the Telegram groups, I wouldn't even find out about these things, but it's actually released in some of our Telegram groups. And I actually actively prohibit that because I don't want them to become this kind of message boards that you're already receiving in your other 1,000 groups and whatever. But at the same time, I just want you to see the mentality that you, wherever you are on your journey, you are now with better people, or with more focused people, or people with a wider skill set, and. So I just want you to one, calm down unexpected, targets or whatever you think that was meant to actually happen, and be grateful that you had such a positive experience and learned skills and did everything correct, and you spent the time well, and you did lots and lots of worship, which is what the most important thing is. And now make sure that you become better. And it's not going to happen like that. Becoming better means that you commit. You got to commit. So now, I've seen now so many significant number of you commit to Quran classes, started that Arabic lesson, made sure that they're going to be in the LP lessons, started Al-Maghrib seminars, doing this, doing that, going to your local masjid that doesn't even care about Al-Maghrib, hates Al-Maghrib, does something else. It doesn't matter. But you commit and you start, and you know that the normal reasons that would stop you are not valid. For example, that you can study. For example, that you don't need so much sleep. For example, that you do enjoy Allah and His Messenger and the Deen because you enjoyed it during Hajj. One way or the other, you don't know how it happened, but you found it exciting, you found it interesting, you found it iman boosting. So all of the lies that shaitan puts into your mind that you're going to get bored, it's too expensive, it's this, it's that. Bro, you've spent pure money on your deen. So you can spend more. These little things that you've got over. You've got over cultural barriers. You've got over suspicion. Like, for example, with me, there'll be a load of people that'll be thinking he's this, he's that, he's this, he's a Wahhabi, he's a hater, he's this, he's that, blah, blah, blah. Then you realize, actually, that's not true. Meaning that all of the kind of the little things that have become a barrier, the Hajj experience has removed those. I hope that you understand what I'm trying to say. And that in itself will allow your development. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share from my side. I want to just use one statement. before and after Hajj, I've tried to implement small habits rather than set big goals. And when I do that and don't keep up, it feels like progress is slow. Don't worry, because progress is slow. It's meant to be slow. This is not it's just like a crash diet, right? You go into the crash diet, then you lose all of that weight in, a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and then it's not sustainable. And then it just goes back on again. And that's not just in dieting. It's a life rule, right? Our teachers used to tell us, what comes quick, goes quick. What comes quick, goes quick. I told you that for the perfect expression of tarbiyah is protect this house, the class. In it, I give an example of, and I'll share this example with you now, but in the class, I gave the example of my eldest son when we were teaching him the Quran during his hifz. And we were in Egypt. We were living in Egypt at the time. And what happened is that a offer was put to us by one of the teachers, or one of his teachers. And he said, listen, he goes, they do a Quran intensive aiming at kids. Okay. And the kids themselves, what they will be, what they will do is that they'll be placed into a camp where they will memorize the entire Quran in 1 month. 1 month. Now you're thinking, what the hell? It is a boarding school. They're allowed to go home for 1 day a year, or 1 day a week, sorry. And that's on the Jummah. And they go, I think, on the Thursday night, and they got to come back on the Friday night. Listen to this. The parents are never allowed to know where the location is. And so what happens is that they drop them off at this meeting point. A bus comes, it takes them away, and it brings them back at the same time. You have no contact with your kid. Kids have nothing. This is a very popular concept, by the way, in Egypt, especially in other Muslim countries. And many people have benefited from this. At the very least, just for muraja, meaning that someone's done hifz already and then they revise it. It's not awful, honestly. I know it sounds, yeah, you're right, actually. It sounds awful. It's not. Depending upon mindset and everything. And how does it work? Basically, they wake up for tahajjud and they pray, and then they start revising, and then they have a break, and then they pray. And it's like a mass, and everyone's working together, and they play football and they have sports, but they all live. So the girls are separate, the boys are separate, and it's all in house, and it's okay, and mega amounts of repetition. You're thinking I'm going to criticize the model of the 1 month camp. Not at all, actually. I found that it was very useful for a lot of the people who went, and I've seen those people, I want to say 18, 19, 20 years later, different people benefited massively. But the story that I want to tell you about is, how do you get entry into this camp? Because it's way oversubscribed. Way oversubscribed. And because the people who know, they know, right? Millennials are like, oh my God, that's a disaster. The people who know, they know. So people are desperate, paying anything to get in, way over the odds. No, you've got to pass the entrance exam. What's the entrance exam? Took Yahya and Isa to the, it's a location. You get to the location. Yahya now is like 21. Isa's maybe 23, 4, something, whatever. And you go in, and there's a guy at the desk. He goes, "Were you here for the entrance?" I said, "Yep." He goes, "Okay, all right." He goes, "Which surah have you not memorized, for example, whatever?" And at that time, both of them had not memorized Surah Al-A'raf, okay, which is the 7th surah in the Quran, long one. And the sheikh then said, "Okay," he took a mushaf and he looked through it, and found Araf, and he ran, and he found a page, and he puts it in front of the boys. He goes, "Right, boys, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but because I can't remember exactly, but I was there, by the way. I want to say he either said 15 minutes or half an hour. I can't remember the exact time period. He goes, right, boys, there you go." He goes, let's go with half an hour. He goes, "You've got half an hour to memorize this page." I was like, Ras. And boys were like shocked, and they looked at each other, this, that, whatever, and they were like, and they're testing. And I was like, man, this is impossible, man. How is this even going to happen? And subhanAllah, in that half an hour, the guy goes, right, let's do half an hour's up. So he starts testing them. Perfect. Both of them. I hope to God that I haven't narrated a variant version in Protect This House. Full best is going to be done. But I'm pretty sure that it was perfect and it was great. Anyway, the guy goes, okay, both of you are in. Both of you have got your space and you're in. And I was like, sick. Went back and go to Mrs. Wright. We're on. They're leaving next week. And it was, everyone's got excited and this and that, whatever. So Mrs. goes like, so what was it then? I go, well, it was from Araf page so-and-so, so-and-so. He goes, oh, really, yeah? And I go, yeah. I go, you know what? This is a good point. I go, boys, come over. I go, read to me, Yanni, from the page. They couldn't remember a single thing from that page. Not a single ayah. I'm going to say maybe about 4 or 5 hours later or something like that. And all of us know this. All of us know the concept of short-term memory. All of the people understand that concept. People do it all the time with exam revision, cramming it in last minute. You got some people who, I always said that, those people who go to sleep on the night of an exam, those are the people that you want to stay away from. They're serial killers. They're hardcore. Those are people who are disciplined. Those are people who have been revising for the last 6 months, and they're dangerous people. Don't be sitting next to that person alone. That person will kill you and nobody will even know one thing about it. Right? Those are people who eat on time, they train, they revise. Their life is, mashallah, tabarakallah, machines. All right? They're dangerous people. Those people take over the world with their eyes closed. They're sleeping the night before the exam. I never in my life ever slept on the night of an exam. Never. I would start from the night and I would be memorizing. I'd walk into that exam. Was I tired? Was I a full on adrenaline? I was pumped, my eyes wide open. I didn't need no coffee. I don't need no Red Bull. I'm so in the zone, just on a whole next level. Go into that exam, smash the exam, because I can see everything. I can see everything. I can see every page. I can see all those, I can see everything, right? Then come out the exam, everything's gone. Everything's gone. And frankly, I have no problem anybody doing this for GCSEs or A-levels, because it's useless knowledge. They're just testing your abilities to pass the exams, right? It's not knowledge that's going to actually help you in your job or anything like that. It's just testing you. And that's why there's so many societies like Scandinavian type approach that are anti-exam, because they say that it proves nothing. It shows nothing. Okay. And so I'm just giving you the example that human beings can do remarkable things in short periods of time that have zero value. They're just empty. What comes quick goes quick. Hajj, don't try to create for yourself that I've got to now be on this massive kind of iman buzz and the like. It's just not true. It's false, and it will damage you. It will damage you. Okay? We need to be like the serial killers. We need to be like the dangerous people. We need to be like those folks that are just calm and they just, keep it steady, and they iman, they never get too happy and excited. They never get too depressed and whatever. They're just, just keeping the game steady. And that's more than enough, bro. More than enough. I told everybody that after Hajj, you've got to be going to the masjid in the morning and the evening. At the very least. If you're not doing that and saying, man, I don't know where my iman buzz is gone, I don't know where whatever is gone. Bro, what the? I'm telling you that you got to be in the masjid and you're not even going to the masjid. Are you kidding me, bro? You're not going to your local masjid for Fajr and for Isha. If there was one thing that you learn in the Hajj, is that you never ever can imagine missing the Jama'ah. And it wasn't like it was easy, was it? I mean, even in base camp, even in Mina, it's a mission. Having to wake up and all groggy and wudu taking hours and God knows what missions, blah, blah, blah. Even in base camp, you're walking up down the stairs, missions. Let alone the haram. Let alone the haram. You know what a nightmare that was? People basically gave up and started praying in a musalla and stuff like that. Like, what? So You've proven to yourself that you can do that. Why are you people not praying in the masjid? It's the easiest, simplest way. Cannot believe with that fish, and he went and told publicly everybody my private stuff. Yeah, it's true. I get very, very angry. I do lose my temper a lot. But to my credit, I calm down very quickly as well. And the absolute cheat code to keep me calm is to hear Quran. But that's yani adi. But Abdul Ghaffar's Quran is like one of those and urine. You know the hypnotists when they do that. Watch this and urine. Right? That's what happens as soon as he recites. All right? As soon as he starts reciting, I'm gone. I'm in a different world. And so I don't know why I said that. Got no idea, but the point is that there are some small easy wins, and that's just regular. You got to be able to be in a situation where every morning and every evening. There's a reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Jama'ah upon the Muslims, and there's a reason why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam obligated it, because that is how you get your iman boost, by hearing the word of Allah every morning, every evening. It's not got anything to do with anything now. No structures, no falsehood, no big events, no big spending, no big costs. You know what I'm saying? So, but people don't see the razzmatazz and the glitz and the glamour is not with the attending the Fajr and the Isha. It's not there, is it? It's not that difficult, by the way. It's just that people don't get excited by it. They don't see massive results, but believe me, it's keeping you in the game, man. Being in the Jama'ah is keeping you in the game. I cannot emphasize anything so much. So I'll just end with this. That sister, I said to her, what's happening? And, she's not wearing a hijab and she's going into like this big thing down, whatever. And her iman is at an all-time low. I said to her, I'm going to be very frank. I go, you're a waste man. You are here wasting my time. I told you to go and take this, but you didn't. I go, you're not praying. You're not X. You're not Y. And you're crying about all these things. And I told you that there's an opportunity to come and visit this, to be at this class, to be at that event, to go into the reunion here, to meet up with the guys that are doing this. How many times were you told throughout the year, do this, do that, do this? Just name me one thing that you did. Stop right there. You don't need to. I know that you didn't, because I was monitoring you. I was monitoring you, and you didn't attend any single one. You didn't go to any single one. And then she's like, yeah, you're right. I didn't. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. Hello? Right? So, anyway, I'm going off on tangents. We just got to make sure that we keep in the game by following the advice, following the principles, slow burn, stop putting big expectations, and Allahu Alam. Let's do questions, guys. Okay, let's do live stuff, or let's do it in the thing. I don't know what's going on with serial killers. I'm never going to say it again. Of course, I'm going to say it again, but don't be blaming me and for serial killers. How about doing mic stuff? Let's have people talk, challenge, speak about some stuff. Let's think. The reunion. Guys, obviously those who are abroad, everyone got to be there live on the web link. But please, for the folks in the UK, make some effort, man. Make some effort. August 4th, Chief's coming down from Doha, bro. You want to behave. Sheikh Abdul Ghaffar is driving down. And I'm going to be there live as well, but obviously I'm in Medina. Inshallah. And it's just good, man. It's good vibes. It's a blessing. And put the niyyah down as an act of worship to rekindle the brother and the brotherhood and the sisterhood, to be there where the Quran is recited, to be there in an environment that hopefully will motivate folks. And you see, and a laugh as well. You see people looking so different. That's pure funnies. You won't recognize half the people. The women you won't recognize at all. They all look completely different. We've all got used to them, makeupless, all nice looking. Now they're all dolled up, looking horrible, man. It's bro, it's hilarious. It's the hilarious things of Hajj reunions are the women. Honest to God. So, what are we saying, guys? Who's taking the mic? With that, what's happening? Anybody putting their hands up? Anyone interested? Salam, dua, kuch, this, that.
Dr. Ross.
Also, this is what the Ras. Exactly. I was about to say, actually, because the chief is coming now, there are at least now 100 people now need to come. Because the chief is saying, I'm only coming if there's 150 people coming. So we need another 100 folks. And therefore, what you need to do is to let Sobi know that you're coming. And so there'll be another poll of some sort that will come out so that the numbers can be adjusted and the like. And please support the gang. Please support those. Massive shout out to those that have financially been helping so much behind the scenes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from you. Every single penny. Awesome behavior, man. All right. Put the Ras. Okay, folks, what we saying? Don't just leave me like this, bro. Hands up to chat, or just, you know what I mean? Just what the Ras it and just unmute yourself and shout out. Why not? Of course you can. Why not? Everyone's all active and all energy in, isn't it? Now you all shut up, isn't it? Saadia, go ahead, bro. Oh, you need to be thingied. Yep.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
What's happening, bro?
I booked Ilm Summit.
No way.
I wasn't going to book it because, like you said to me, I see you all the time. So when Issa told me she was going, I said, right, I'm going to book it.
Bro.
But I'll see you there, Sheikh. But you were the
I don't know what
weakest
I
link.
was gonna. I was just thinking to myself, what shall I say? What kind of deprecating statement can I say about Isa? But I do actually want to have something hot tonight, as opposed to cold salad. So yeah, I'm sure that you're going to have great times with Isa. That's fine. Let's leave it there.
But thank you for letting us know about Sheikh Abdul Ghaffar. I booked my train ticket. And
Barakallahu feek. I appreciate you, because that is what the level of love and respect that Sheikh Abdul Ghaffar deserves. Our most underrated guy on this planet, man. Honestly, man. Honestly. MashaAllah.
That was all I had to say. But
Jazakumullah
what
khair.
about the mentoring? Can you tell us a bit more about this mentoring that you offer?
You cheeky little fish. Look at your messaging. Look at your flipping Telegram screen, and that should answer your question. God. Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't die.
Stop
yeah.
so I can laugh.
Don't have a COPD bloody attack, okay? Bloody hell, don't die. Danish, save her.
I think I pressed it by mistake, Sheikh. I didn't really have
don't
anything.
be a hater, bro. Don't be a hater.
Right,
just
okay.
because you're getting retreat, I'm getting retreat. I don't need to ask a question here. Yeah.
Shall I ask you a dark question? I know you wanted to be light stuff, but it's a bit of a adab al-mufrad question.
Ras, bro. Soon as that word, soon as the adab al-mufrad word is mentioned, I know that it's getting dark in here, bro.
No, it's been on my mind for the last 3 days. So I'll ask anyway, just in case if it benefits anybody else. So I've got a relative. She's never been practicing. She married a Christian man who, obviously, at the time of the wedding, he accepted Islam. But they never practiced. Now she has gone through some losses. Her sister's passed away. She's had financial losses as well. Her, whatever iman she had, has basically suffered a lot. So she has not expressively said that I'm not a Muslim anymore, but she's saying a lot of she's quite anti-Islam now. So we don't know. I don't want to say that she's not Muslim anymore. But the question I have on behalf of her family is, what do they do in terms of keeping in touch with her? Or if she's a murtad, are they allowed to be meeting with her or not?
Yeah, the answer
as a general principle, I know it's more of something that should be discussed with a local sheikh, but as a general principle, if your brother,
and yeah, I do discuss this in a lot of detail and Protect This House. And in summary, what I will say is this: is that nothing changes as if she was a sinner. The level of the sin kind of becomes irrelevant, because you have people who sin and don't want to sin, and then you have people who sin and don't care about sinning. And so when you're in the second category and you don't care about sinning, it doesn't matter what the level of the sin. Little sin, big sin, kufr, it's all the same. So that's the first statement I want to make. And so it's very clear to us who belongs in which category. You've got people who absolutely struggle and can't, get over the fact that they sin, but they sin. Forget those. That's all of us. That's the first category. The second one is the one that we want to speak about. This is the one who turns and says that I'm now a he, her, she, them, they. I'm now lesbian. I'm doing zina. I'm getting married to so-and-so. I'm I don't care about you anymore. Whatever the level is, I disbelieve. I'm murtad. Whatever it is, okay. So whatever the level of sin it is, in our they are their own group. How you deal with this group depends upon social circumstances and reality. Back in the day, we used to boycott these people hardcore. If you look at the Quran, the Quranic methodology with these folks is full hardcore boycott, right? And they get so depressed being alone, and they get so overcome that it shocks them into their senses, and they come back very quickly. However, it is very obvious and clear that this cannot be applied today, because when people are being boycotted, they go for comfort and support, and the whole world is opening their arms for that. And they have institutions, and they have support groups for those that are ex-Muslim, and support groups for the gay Muslims and whatever. And they say, come to us. So it's not possible for there to be even a strong boycott, but maybe a part kind of boycott, part kind of protecting the rest of the family from her kind of views and sins. But some people, as I always say, got to keep the door open, got to maintain a relationship with her. A few people that have got relations or whatever, that be gentle with her and keep it easy, and the rest of it. And so I just think that should be the approach here as well, because she will crash again. When she crashes again, she'll realize that actually she got rid of everything that could have helped her in that crash. That's when the friends and the family are there to pick up the pieces. That's the whole point of friends and family. It's not easy to do that, because we love and hate for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When someone is so anti-Allah and his deen, it's very difficult to maintain cordial relations. So you don't need to be all over them, slobbering them all the time. But my point is that it is not out and out boycott. So to answer your question, no, absolutely it's permissible to maintain contact with a murtad, especially in our time right now. The only kind of, it only starts to get legal and factual and these halal haram questions if she dies. Then it's a whole different ballgame. Then we couldn't care less about, her feelings or whatever, because she's gone, she's dead now. That's it. We have to be dispassionate, we've got to be clear, we've got to establish the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't care about the society, we don't care about what she's going to run to, because she's dead, right? And so now we will not bury her with the Muslims, we will not do this, we'll not do that. Then the halal and haram starts going. But now, whilst we're weak and on the back foot and in enemy territory and everyone's against us and they've got all the support in the world, we are very meek, very basic, and doing whatever it takes to basically bring her back without any rush. All right?
Another question. Are we making sure Labib's bringing the brownies to the retreat?
Labib, if Labib can even bring himself, that eating little fish, that would be an achievement.
I'll be carpooling with him.
That would be the perfect result, because the only reason that we want him to come is the brownies. So if you can bring the brownies and save us from him, Allahu Akbar. You would have fulfilled your life objective. Well done, bro. Right, who's got their hands up? Who's doing the thingy with that? Are you alive or not? Or thingy, just what? It's a national pastime.
I've unmuted everybody who raised their hands, but it seems like a lot of people are hitting it accidentally.
Right.
I don't know. Man, Sulaiman, I don't know if they did it accidentally.
Yeah, right. I can go real quick. On a lighter note, I noticed there's been a decent amount of discussion with like the forum and whatnot with regards to next year's Hajj program and the length thereof. I've also been receiving a bunch of questions about it from people I know who are interested in the program. And so I wanted to ask you if you have any, I'm guessing it's a little far out to make the proper decision, but if you have any...
No, it's not. It's not far out. I told you that your feedback was very important. And although I'm way speaking ahead of turn, but I trust all of the folks in the Hajj group that I have, and I have no problem sharing this with you because you'll add the necessary caveats. But we saw the feedback from you lot and discussions and XYZ, and we believe that the program can be offered in an 18/19 day format, just cleaning things up a little bit. No decrease in the program. In fact, possibly an increase in one or two things, especially because a lot of the feedback made some really good points that there was way too much focus on fiqh and madhabs and this and that if that had been swapped for just jumping straight into the Hajj text, for example, we could have saved one or two sessions. And I think that that's really correct. I think that's very right. And that was my own weakness and my own mistake. And so, I mean, there are other people that really benefit from those sessions. But the truth is that I believe they're in a minority. So was I justified? Do I feel guilty? No, it was the right decision based upon what I thought. But now looking back, was it the best use of time? Well, next year when we do our review, and we've got still a lot to do when we review our own stuff, only you folks have reviewed. The thing is, I haven't done my review. Myself and with Dad, you see the size of her project, you won't even believe the amount of, stuff that's got to be done. And like I said, we do this to a whole different level. With due respect to all of you folks, I don't live to anybody else's standards. I'm very interested to hear what other people think, but I only live to my own standards. I've been let down by other people's low standards for a long, long time. So I know that we could have done better this year, a lot better. And so that was the priority, preserving the program and improving it. And that will happen next year, but we are very confident that it can happen in 18/19 days. We don't believe that it can be done in a 14-day bracket or a 16-day bracket. We think it could be done in a 16-day bracket, but we don't want to risk it until we've tried it in an 18-day bracket. We'd like to move down to a sweet spot of around 16 days, maybe in a couple of years, if we can get it right. But that would require refining. And I'm the weakest link in this. The days are the days and the acts are the acts. It's me who's filling it, right? And if I'm waffling and I'm, not being efficient and whatever, you've seen the team. The team are perfect in everything that they did. They never let anybody down. It was me who is the bottleneck. And so I take responsibility for that. I live and die by the sword. I did mess up on a few things. And the feedback also confirmed it. The feedback confirmed all of this. And I think that, and the reason why it's not a done deal is because Al-Bayt need to okay it. And that meeting hasn't happened. And until that happens, then it won't go ahead. But I think that they won't have a problem with it. And they will okay it. It will still be the same structure, just like the majority of you guys voted for as well. Medina effectively the same. Mecca reduced, base camp slightly reduced. And that's how you basically cut the 2-3 days off. And but the same program exactly. Does that make sense, Suleiman?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And then I'm going to cheat and swing in another one in there. But if anybody's interested in, I guess, helping with your team this next year, who would you point to?
So the chief is the one that will be running the show, at all times and everything. So you just everything and anything communication-wise, advice-wise, feedback-wise, through the chief, through me, through whatever. But ultimately, we've got different funnels for different things. With that, also in terms of things that you missed. If anyone's here that missed, filling in a form or got some real strong feelings about whatever, or any problems, any complaints, anything, then Widad is the one that's noting it. Those that want to do actual things, though, so for example, we often get people that want to sponsor things, right, for next year's group, or they want to pay for certain things. They want to, do this kind of stuff. The chief is the one who normally will be the best port of call for that. Jazakallah khair. Uthman, you've been unmuted. We've been listening to you, sniffing and grunting all this time.
Just wanted to say, Sheikh, when are you going Al-Aqsa?
Yeah, bro, I had this conversation, subhanAllah, a couple of days. A few other folks have been asking about what's the 2025 schedule and the like. Let me answer that question. I am struggling to find any time for the Umrah program. Maybe there might be one in February or in Easter, but it's very, very unlikely, and therefore it'll be October. And Aqsa, my target, even though it is unlikely because of everything that's happening, but my target is maybe the second or the third week of Ramadan. Maybe the second or third week of Ramadan. Whenever I make a decision on anything, there are multiple factors that are in play, my availability being the least important one. I just want to make that clear. Why don't I go early to Aqsa? The weather's horrible. Why don't I go early to Aqsa? Because the infrastructure cannot support the slipperiness and the cold that occurs there, and it ruins the experience for folks. Why don't you go outside of Ramadan? Because Ramadan in Aqsa, in my opinion, is the greatest spiritual experience a person can have, even better than Hajj for me. Minus the hour of Arafah, that hour, minus that, Ramadan in Aqsa for me is on a whole different level. And that's because the Ramadan, not the Ramadan per se, but the Taraweeh reciting through the whole Quran, so many verses being revealed in that location about the people who are listening whilst you're reciting. The Jews are listening to everything. The Christians, the loudspeakers are going everywhere, and the Jews are boiling, and the Christians are boiling, and the Christians are regretting, and the Muslims are reflecting. It's on a whole different level. If you're a Quran fan, and a Deen fan, and a study fan, and so I have to do a trip if I'm gonna go, and I don't have that much time off, so I can only go twice in a year to Aqsa at the moment. So then it's probably going to be in Ramadan. Why not at the end, in the last, in the special nights? Two reasons. I believe that everyone should always be at home for the best nights of Ramadan. The last 10 nights, I believe everybody should do at home in their local masjid for the quality experience. But the other reason is that it becomes impossibly busy. It's the reason why I don't take anybody to Umrah in Ramadan, and I refuse to. It's a horrible experience. There's a reason why the reward of doing Umrah in Ramadan is like Hajj, because it might as well be Hajj. It's a mission, bro. Honestly, it's so bad to do Ramadan, Umrah. It's so stressful. It's so busy. It's so overwhelming. If you guys felt overwhelmed, a lot of people, when they were moving to base camp, were so relieved. Can you imagine? They were like, man, it's a mission to get into the masjid. It's so difficult. Bro, Ramadan, yeah, there's a buzz, of course, Taraweeh, blah, blah, blah. But so the same thing in the last week, especially the last week, getting in and out of Aqsa becomes quite traumatic for some people. And here's a problem. The majority, not the hardcore religious folks like me, whatever, I loved being crushed amongst the believers. But, those that are not, practicing and ethnic enough, that's the important point. They're not real enough. They get really put off that environment when they're in a very busy environment and it's waiting a long time and they're praying in streets and all that kind of stuff. The kind of stuff that I'd thrive over, but a normal crowd that are experiencing Aqsa for the first time, or some of the people go and they're more activists than they are practicing Muslims, and so they're not used to that kind of behavior. So when I make these decisions, like I said, it's always looking for the benefit of the people who come. So that's why I avoid the last 7-8 nights, and I'd go like maybe, I prefer the beginning of Ramadan, but if I go in the beginning of Ramadan, the weather will be really bad, and so I'll try to push it back a little bit. So that's the answer to your question. Aqsa in Ramadan.
So my only question is, inshallah, is there any way that we can jump the queue and you have a waiting list? Because that's going to be oversubscribed when you do offer it.
It will be, but I always say that I give the groups, private groups, the head start. So meaning that before it goes public, before the date goes public, before the form goes public, the folks in the LP or whatever, and these groups will get their head start, and it's always enough. There's nobody in the Hajj and Umrah and the LP family that misses out compared to the public, because even if they miss out, all applications are date timed, and I intentionally want to target my own people. That's the only fair thing, and so yeah, you will get a heads up, bro. You'll get a heads up. Who else is jumping on, guys?
Assalamualaikum.
Salam. What's happening, bro?
It's lovely to see you again.
Barakallahu feek. Barakallahu feek. I was just thinking about your daughter. Subhanallah, she is honestly a credit. I was thinking about how smiley she was, but then they got the smiliest bloody parents. You know what it is? If you guys get married because you had this kind of counter that I'm the smiliest girl and he's the smiliest guy. Honestly, two crazy smiley people, man. MashaAllah, Allahumma barik. Allahumma zid wa barik. Anyway, carry on, guys.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah for that. I just wanted to ask you how are we supposed to embody this concept of doing something for the sake of Allah and not expecting appreciation from people, especially family members. So we're going through an event with my sister-in-law where she's getting her daughter married, and me and my husband's sister, and he keeps telling me, you're doing too much, you keep going out your way and they don't appreciate it. But I'm doing it for the sake of Allah, doing it for the sake of Allah, and we did. And then it's like we come back, we went out of our way, went early to Birmingham for the event, help her this, that, come back, and I was like, oh, she didn't even send a message to say thank you or I appreciate it. But I was like, why am I expecting that? I did it for the sake of Allah. I did it for the sake of Allah. But then you still always have the expectation that she could have at least done this or she could have at least done that. And I think this came as a realization when we came to Manchester for the dinner. And we didn't know you were going to be there, but so we had got in touch with Sheikh Yahya. We had done Umrah with him. I invited him for dinner. I said, we will take you out to dinner in Manchester. I don't want to inconvenience you and call you to Bolton. And he said, let me see what the team are doing. And he said, can I tell you ask you if you're comfortable to come to the team dinner instead? And we were absolutely fine with that. And we came. And it's like he showed his appreciation of us coming by making sure my husband sat next to him. And when we were in the car driving back, I said to my husband, that's true embodiment of appreciation. That he truly appreciated that, even though we really wanted to see him, but it's like, I appreciate that you came out to see me, and he respected you by doing that. And I really felt it was a very nice gesture. And then I said, I was like, why are we not feeling, why do we want that appreciation from your sister that, oh, we did this, or I did this, or she should do this, or your niece should have said this, your niece should have said that. It's purely for the sake of Allah. So how do we embody that? I just feel like there's always, is it a human nature thing that we're always expecting appreciation?
So I think this is a fantastic question. I mean, I really think it's a great question. And I want to say, and I want you to listen carefully. Whenever you're dealing with people at any level, you cannot, as a practicing Muslim, ever hold them to the standard of your own. You cannot. You've got to expect absolutely 0 from everybody, and you've got to expect 100 from yourself. So if Yahya hadn't done that, I would be disappointed in him. And if it was anyone other than Yahya, because I see Yahya as myself, if I didn't do that, I'd be very disappointed with myself. And if it's anybody else, I'm not expecting anything. And then to then extend that. When a person starts talking about for the sake of Allah, quote unquote, for the sake of Allah, you're now starting to get into Biggie Betty Boots Yani behavior now, right? This is not basic talk now. Basically you went and said Beetlejuice. That's a whole different kind of, generation. But the point is that you went and said big words. Now you got to take the consequences. Meaning that when you start playing in the arena of for the sake of Allah, you are in the 0.0001% area. There's a reason why ikhlas and for the sake of Allah are Jannah actions, because they are the most difficult. They are the most difficult. That's why the scholars said that we were able to perfect everything other than ikhlas. You look at the companions, you look at the Sahaba, what were they always worried about? Their sincerity, whether their action will be accepted or not. Whenever you see the idea or you read about or come across the statements of the Sahaba or the Prophet ﷺ or the prophets or the whatever about whether their actions are being accepted or not, do you think the concern is coming because they didn't do the action? Well, hello. Of course, they did the action. So then, why wouldn't the action be accepted then? Where's the fear coming from? If you've done the action and you are a prophet and you know how to do the action, right? So then, what's the concern? What are you so worried for? Because was it done for the sake of Allah? So everybody at the highest level is always struggling to do it for the sake of Allah, which should therefore explain to you to do something for the sake of Allah is the most difficult thing to do in your life. And the one who does it has achieved an unbelievable amount. And therefore I say to you, Mahjabeen, that if you were to get anything of any sort of recognition, understanding, respect or whatever, immediately you're in trouble. Immediately you're in trouble because your whole for the sake of Allah project has just come crashing down. Because the human being, as you said, human nature, as soon as they hear those nice words, they start to feel, that's very nice of you. Appreciate that. And they start buzz off that. And they start to kind of get motivated off that. And it starts to weaken the for the sake of Allah side. Because actually, for the sake of Allah side is a whole different attitude. I hope nobody finds out. I hope nobody knows. I hope nobody whatever. And I'm happy to go to the grave with that. I'm happy to go with the grave with that. But the human nature can't allow that to happen. It's so difficult. The nafs will not allow that to happen. Yani, subhanallah, how many times I have, right? And I'm sure everybody, I'm going to give you an example. I know all of you have, but just change it to your own scenario. But for me, obviously, I get a lot of this. A person will be there and they'll be waxing lyrical. And people will be waxing lyrical about a person that is giving a lecture, right? And, reading from notes. And you're the guy who wrote it. And you're thinking, Ras, the guy didn't give any, what's the word? Not references. What's the thingy? Credit. Yeah. Didn't give no credit, even like academic, even like, whatever. Not a single thing. Not that I want it. We lie to ourselves. Not that I really want it. We say, not that I care. That's what we say. Yeah. But we have absolutely flipping care, right? Because we're human thingy. Actually, if I'm at the level of for the sake of Allah, I'm sitting back thinking, brass, man, that's sick. That got all the way there. Nobody's ever going to find out as long as I live that I'm the guy who did that. Because that would ruin it, that it was done for the sake of Allah. Sometimes I think, now this is a stupid example, but I do think about this because this is obviously, it's deen, it's ikhlas, it's psychology, it's anthropology. I often think about not screenwriters. What are they called? The people who were on strike recently, so all the talk shows with that. What are they called? Bloody these people. The writers, anyway. The ones who write all of the jokes for all of these shows, whether it's the talk shows, whether it's the comedy shows, whether it's the whatever, whatnot. Okay, that whole crowd of people, they're the most skilled people on this planet. They've got away with words and jokes and lines and X and Y and Z. And you know what's crazy? What's crazy is that in the last few years, script writers, I think they're called, or something, whatever they are, their job is to analyze everything and then write the jokes and write the political comments and write the satire. And when we think, here's the thing, like, let's look at the world's greatest satirists that we know, right? Right at top number one, nobody can come close to Jon Stewart. Okay? Nobody can come close to Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart he's not the same. He's no doubt that he's got skills, but everything is written out for him by other people. And we never get to know who those people are. They never get the shine that they deserve. And the truth is that for years and years, they've been the forgotten class. It's only in recent times that they're starting to get recognition. And I want you to imagine the love that these people get, these comedians get, these talk show hosts get. They get praise and money and 100 million contracts and God knows what, whatever. And these masakin who are actually the ones who are putting it all together, but, that's the guy who's in front of the camera, gets all the credit. It must be so difficult. And me, because obviously it's a curse, right? It's a curse. When I'm sitting there, it's like a dentist. The only thing the dentists do, I told you guys this in the class, the dentist, the curse of a dentist is he can't look at you, he's just looking at your teeth, right? He just can't enjoy you, he's just looking at your teeth. I find it difficult to enjoy listening or watching anything, right? I just can't, because all I can see are the eyes that are following the transcript thingy. And I'm always looking at people that are speaking into a camera, and I can't do anything but look at their eyes. And when I see the eyes go like that, and you got people who are really inexperienced. So like you look at the prime ministers when they do their messages, they're so rubbish. You'll see them doing this. You literally see them, the Eid messages, they're always going like that, right? And like they're rubbish. But the people who are at the top of their game, like the news readers that are having their script increased in size and put further back so that the angle is reduced, I can never watch a newsreader. I just look at their eyes, and I'm looking for the micro movements as their thingy. The point I'm trying to make is that I've completely forgotten the point I was trying to make. What the fish? What was I speaking about that for? Sorry. Meaning that I can't listen to these comedians and their thingy except knowing that there's guys behind them that have written everything. It's not even their joke. It's not their line. It's not their mic drop. It's not them. And I just cannot get over it because I know the industry. I know what it's like. And then I'm always thinking to myself, how are these people, these ghostwriters, these scriptwriters, these whatever, whatnot, how do they put up with it? Yeah, they get paid. That's how they get. That's what they take. They take their jaza in the dunya. And so for the people who do this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they don't even get paid. They don't get paid anything, and they actually might get some hate as well. Sometimes, how about this? What about if someone says to you and turns around and says to you, man, Mahajibeen, if only you actually helped out. Do you know what I mean? After you went and did all of that, all right? Or if only, or someone to me that says, man, wouldn't it be good if you actually wrote some stuff like that? And at some point, when it's for the sake of Allah, there's this beautiful kind of feeling where in your heart you're saying, yeah, wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if you wrote like that, knowing that you're the one who did it? It's a different level. Nobody gets to it easy. And the people who achieve that are very, very few. And so, in answer to your question, Mahjabeen, when you understand how difficult it is, you feel less disappointed then when you realize that you're not going to be, you don't need to worry that you're finding it so difficult, because it is the most difficult. Like when I say the most difficult, I don't know what's more difficult than that in a religion. I don't know, because that is what has been identified historically. I'll tell you one story and I'll close this because I'm going off on a tangent. It's a very famous story about Sufyan al-Thawri. Imam Sufyan al-Thawri, one of the Imams of the Salaf, one of the Imams of Islam, one of the greatest scholars that we've ever known, just one of the greatest. Yeah, he's from the early generations. He's sitting there in a circle. Obviously, he was a polymath, a genius, tens of thousands of students, and he's there teaching. And he suddenly looks up and he sees everybody. And you can, when you see, maybe some of you have seen this or not, but my favorite photo from Hajj is an easy one, by the way, because for me, it's not my favorite, but it's right up there. I think it must have been taken by Ghassan or Widad or something or whatever, and it was behind me at Uhud, right? And I'm speaking, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I went through it. I saw it the other day. I think it's on social media as well. It might be, but the higher quality one isn't. And the quality of the photo, even though it was dark, has got nearly 400 of us all there, or you lot rather, yeah, all looking up. And there's light shining down, and I'm speaking, and I went through it, and I could work out. Everyone goes, there's Sobi, and there's Danish, and there's Mahjabeen, and there's Sarah, and there's Saima, and I'm going through it like this, and you can see every person's face, and every person's eyes are open, and they're like waiting mid-story, right? The Uhud thing. It's a crazy scene. There's nothing like it. The picture's crazy. Everyone's like this, in a state of kind of, focus and listening, and I'm in the middle of the flow, and the pictures captured it from behind. And I want to tell you that as a speaker, that's the peak of life, right? You'll never ever feel a bigger buzz or whatever. I can't explain to you, but I'm just telling you it is. I'm just telling you as it is. The iman, the level, the buzz is just something else. And even I think that looking at it is a crazy kind of sight. Even people that weren't there, they look at that and they're thinking, man, this is a crazy photo. There's something, there's a weird quality to it. And Sufyan al-Thawri, he was in that moment, and his heart, clearly something happened. What we later now realize is that it hit his ikhlas. He became intensely uncomfortable, that he was having such a strong impact upon the people listening to him while he was in the throw of the drama. And he realized that the folks were like, at this moment, you can't do no wrong, and you're amazing and you're incredible and all the rest of it. Okay. And what did he do? He goes, I can't deal with this. This is messing my ikhlas up. This has destroyed me. And so I'm not wearing my thobe. Normally when I demonstrate this in a class, I'm wearing a thobe. And so I demonstrate it, but I'm not wearing a thobe. But imagine I've got a thobe and I've only got a short one on, but he grabbed his thobe and he put it between his mouth like this. Imagine that you're sitting in a masjid with all these hundreds of people in front of you, and you grab your thobe and you put it in your mouth, and he ran out of the masjid. He ran out of the masjid with this in his, like this, running like that. And the people were super shocked, scared, and they were saying, Jannah Sufyan, Jannah Sufyan, Jannah Sufyan, meaning that he's gone crazy. He's gone crazy. He's lost his mind. He's lost his mind. He wanted to produce that reaction to break his ego, to break his, the buzz that he was on. This is me, and it's all about me at this moment. So to break it, he did that. And so I just want you to know that this is the very, very highest levels of the deen, and you mustn't be disappointed. But Allah knows best. Jazakumullah khair, Mahjubin, for that question. I mean, this is a wonderful photo, but this isn't the one. I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send it.
Jazakallah for putting your light on that. I've never thought of it that way. Didn't know it was the most difficult.
The most difficult. Without doubt. Think about it. Just think about Ibrahim alayhi salam. When we spoke about it in the group tawaf, puts forward this, builds a masjid, gets it ready, for everybody, and then his first thing is Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka anta as-sami'ul alim. Oh Allah, accept this from us. Why is the dua being asked? What's the remaining part? What's the missing part? He did all that, did follow the instructions, followed Allah's instructions, the angels' instructions, did it, everything. What is the only other instruction? Did I do it for your sake, or did I do it for the people's sake? They're going to look after my family. They're going to give me credit. They're going to give me props. Whatever did I do for you? Who is the first person who gets thrown in the hellfire? The one face first, 3 people, right? What are they all doing it for the sake of the people? The alim who did it for the sake of people. The mujahid, so that the people said that, what a brave guy. The guy who spent the money, because it's all over our deen, bro. It's all over our deen. 100% Salih. 100%. 100%. Anyway, Jazakumullah khair. Who's next on the list of troublemakers? I can see Sobi and lingering in the background is looking dangerous, to be honest. With that,
I'm not dangerous.
You are dangerous, bro. By unanimous consensus.
I think that's your consensus only.
What's happening, Mali?
I wanted to ask first of all, I want to thank everybody who's supporting me with the Hajj reunion. Inshallah, it's gonna be.
You're welcome.
Okay, you're doing jackal, but okay.
Yes.
I'm joking.
Yes. Only whipped the chief from Doha. Yes. Only got Sheikh Abdul Ghaffar and gave him the world's #1 deal in history if he actually goes. But okay, we keep that back quiet.
No. I'm grateful because that has now
happened. Too late now, bro. Shut up.
I'm grateful. That's increasing the number poll. So alhamdulillah, I will get a Arusa to do a poll again, inshallah, the next one. And also I wanted to ask a question. Someone else has posted this in the group as well. Basically, is it true? Is it narration about the sign? You know, when you come back, if you signs of accepted Hajj is when you start making small changes, obviously, and stay consistent. And one more question I wanted to ask, which has literally gone out of my brain. When I remember it, I'll post that in the group.
Tika,
I can't remember the question.
Tika, as for the question, no, there's no narration, but this is 100% correct. That the sign of the accepted Hajj is exactly that. That actions start, especially that which is in line with the Sunnah, whether obligatory or not obligatory, and that they remain consistent. This is the sign of an accepted Hajj. There's a consensus on that point from the scholars. But is there a narration from the Prophet ﷺ? No.
No. Okay.
Barakallah. What's happening here? What's going on? Why'd you guys do this to me, man? I don't know if anyone's actually putting their hands up or not, because with that runs this thingy, but I'm going to assume that Aniza is, and the AC. Who's AC? Oh, that's Anik. Aniza, go ahead. With that, what you do, you're the worst regulator and moderator in human history. Human history.
Are there hands raised? I don't see any raised hands.
Unbelievable. I just allowed Aniza to speak, and she's ready to speak. How about that? And what?
That's not true for some reason.
What? Blag. What blags? Excuses, blags. What's happening, Aniza? You're right. Aniza,
yeah,
am I holding on to my fucking luggage tag again for the rest of my life, or what?
You've taken good care of it.
I've got. I mean, she's not here. I bet she's not here. But I did see Hadia. Let me just quickly check, Yanni, who's here. Yeah, I see Hadia there, but Mariam is not online, is she? For some reason, I got Mariam's visa. Okay, I got Mariam's visa right here, literally right here, and I don't know what's going on. But anyway, what's happening?
Keeping little mementos.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I just wanted to say, Jazakallah khair to everybody for contributing to the Well fundraiser. We've gone smashed the target. So, alhamdulillah. I'm thinking I'm just going to post the link in the group because a lot of people are still messaging me wanting to contribute. So I'm going to just post it. And then even though it's going to go over the target, I've spoken to the owner of the charity. So it'll just go to one of the other projects that they're doing. So inshallah, I'm just going to post that.
Barakallahu feek, Aniza. Jazakumullah khair. How's my guy Nadeem, man? Where is he, man? We don't see him. Na salam, na dua, nothing. Where is he, man?
He's here. 1 second.
Sheikh, assalamu alaikum.
Salam, man. What's happening, Yara? Na salam, na dua, nothing, Yara. Qasme. I'm going to come masjid to you, this, that, Yara. Qasme.
Sheikh, I'm coming to the reunion.
Reunion, reunion is one part, Yara. What about, Yani, Jabani, Kuch Salam, dua, and some? Come on, bro.
Sheikh, unfortunately, I moved to Bolton Sharif and stuff like that, so I'm a long way away from,
Sad individual. Bold. Listen, speaking about this Sizzler place, Sarah, is it like where it's all made out to be, or what?
What Sizzler place? Sizzling Palette?
Is that what it is? No, this place in Bolton, everyone's talking about Sizzler or Sizzling or some.
But to be honest with you, Sheikh, I don't know. The only place I've ever been to is Sizzling Palette, if that's the one, but that's really old. It's been around for years.
No. No, it's not that place. Not that place. Chalo, theek, we'll see you soon, inshallah. No?
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam. Asif bhai, go ahead, bro.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How are you?
What's happening, man? You okay?
When are you coming here? Toronto?
Wallahi, as I'm still on the no visa list. It's been 2 years now, still waiting. And I don't know. As soon as they let my visa open, I will be coming.
I was planning to have maybe a Kadai trip, or take out everyone else, everyone here in the GTA. If you would love to join us,
be careful what you wish for. Asif bhai, listen to me. Be careful what you wish for, because I will hold you to that.
Hold to what? You are most welcome.
Okay, one second.
Sure.
I will hold you to that. And it has to be at Karai Boys.
Oh, absolutely. Karai Boys is just 2 minutes from my place.
Good. You are being held to that, because I'll tell you something right now. The Potahari Karai at that Karai Boys is the best Karai I've ever had in my life.
Absolutely. There's one Karai Boys in Mississauga, just 2 minutes from my place. Absolutely welcome anytime, inshallah.
By the way, you've got the most horrible echo, man. I already hate my own voice. Now I'm hearing it twice. Ugh. Okay. Why is it echoing so much, man? With that, is all the same. Everyone basically in Canada just has to speak twice. What's happened? Is he gone? All right. That's it. Miskin. You guys all heard it, yeah? He said he's taking me to Karai Boys. Bro, I told Yasser, do not sleep on Karai Boys. You guys, we've had it before everywhere, Pakistan, this, that. I said, listen to me, man. There's Karais and there's Karais. The Karai in it is ridiculous. Oh, sugar, Miser. You know what, Miser? Mans can go twice, bro. Mans can go twice. Don't you worry. Allah ne kasam da potahari karai is the craziest dish I have ever had. It is ridiculous. But by the way, can I just tell you something? All the people
who are listening, saying that that's the best West, but the fact that he said that Mississauga has the best food in the West, Mississauga as a whole, I can understand the karai specifically. But
no. By the way, he's not far wrong on that. No, he's not far wrong on that. He's talking about in an area. If you are talking in the West, you don't have many areas like that. You've got Manchester Wilmslow Road. You've got Southall in London. You've got obviously whatever that area is called in Bradford. You've got the Birmingham area as well. You've got Chicago Place. You've that road in Chicago. You've got the New York City part where the Muslims are. You've got Mississauga. You don't have many places that have got more than 5 or 10 places. So if you compare for that which is available from a halal point of view, Muslims, I think it's a very, very strong argument, Mississauga.
I don't know. His credibility points went down when he said that to me.
I swear to God. You know what it is? You're still on the drugs, bro. You know your physiologist? You should say to that person, bro, leave the medication and just focus on the muscles. And it custom, man. Who asked you anyway? Shut up, you.
Let's all go to Joey's.
Honestly, Yara, cuss me, man. What the ras? Right. Anika, are we speaking or what's happening or not? Or who? Who else? Naila, are you trying to speak? Or what? Or who?
Yes. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam, what's happening, Naila? You all right?
Just wanted to ask, do you have any words of wisdom? I know it's a big topic, but advice you give to your kids and your own family, just a couple of quick ones if you can. I know it's a big topic, but I would appreciate it.
I missed the question. Few advice to the kids on what?
That you have given throughout your life lessons that you've learned, that you gave to your own children, that you could share with us.
Can I give one?
Yes, of course.
All right, I'll give one. This is something which is life, but deen as well, of course. And that is always take people out of the equation. Always take people out of the equation. What this means, this is what I practice, and I've been telling them that mostly when it comes to their studies and exams and whatever. This comes to the way that you are being marked. This comes to the way that you are writing your homework. This comes down to the way that you're being clever or cynical in the way that you are relating to a person. This comes to, for example, I'm going Umrah next week, and we're deciding on a certain aspect of the program, but the program is going to be, we're going to be allowed to do what I want to do, because I want to tweak things each time and improve it, especially after the Hajj. I saw 1 or 2 things that I really liked, and I'm going to put that into the Umrah. And I'm going to get it done for August, but it's happening because of contacts. And the problem with contacts is that means it's dependent upon people. So then what happens when I want to do it in September? What happens when I want to do it in December? So when you are depending upon people and keeping them in the equation, you're always never going to be able to move forward. when you are doing an exam paper and it's freestyle writing the answer, and the marks you are being given is for the quality of the answer as opposed to hitting key points, but the handwriting is so awful that it's making it a nightmare for the person to read, who's another human being who's got their kids screaming and the husband wants food and you're there marking exam papers. I don't have the extra 5% of energy to give just to you to try to decipher your writing. So I'm just not going to assume anything, and I'm just not going to give you that extra mark. For the person that, every single thing, when you're doing a work and you're hoping that other people are going to be there for you, or they're going to show this, or they're going to turn up or whatever, don't rely on them. Do it yourself anyway. You're waiting for people to come and bring you something, just go and get it yourself. This is a life lesson that I learned from my teacher in a religious lesson, and then I realized actually that it was just much more than just a religious. This is as important a life lesson that you will ever teach your kids especially, and everybody else. So Allah knows best.
Jazakallah.
Barakallahu feek. I don't know whether that qualified or not, whether that was a blag, but that's what I honestly believe. Right. Where else are we? Who else is taking the mic? Asif, you
Can I ask
disappeared.
another question?
You can, but I was just going to say, Asif, you've disappeared, but I tell you that your microphone meant that everybody was hearing my voice twice, so maybe it's good that you typed. That's also good. Right. Naila, go ahead. Yep.
What are your recommendations for a healthy marriage and healthy parenthood? I know it's a big topic.
Come on, bro. No way. I'm not answering that. Actually, what you just said is actually protect this house, the whole class. So, give it 3-4 weeks, inshallah. You will see all of those answered in detail. But nice try though. Right. Where are we? Aqil, I think it was trying to speak. Saleh, I think, is trying to speak. Aqil, yes, go ahead, bro. Assalamu. Oh, you're so far away from the mic, bro.
Okay, give me 1 second. Is it better now?
Not really, but I can hear you. So I'll repeat the question for everybody who can't hear you. Go on.
Okay, thank you. Jazakallah khair for the lovely session. Just wanted to ask something a little bit more technical. This is regarding the authenticity topic, which we often hear about with regards to hadith and the understanding of hadith, etc. So I did not know this fact, but Amira recently told me that Imam Abu Hanifa was actually earlier in the timeline as compared to Imam al-Bukhari. Now, the usual perception is the earlier the source of information, the more authentic it is or more reliable it is. But when it comes to hadith, we often understand also that the most authentic source of hadith is Sahih al-Bukhari. So how do I reconcile this? How do I understand this?
Yeah, very simply. It's very simple, actually. The concept of the timeline is only relevant when you are talking about the people of hadith. It's not relevant when it's talking about knowledge in general. Abu Hanifa's focus was not on hadith, number one. That's a simple answer. Number two, Abu Hanifa was more than qualified, alayhi rahmatullah, in hadith to be of the top levels of hadith. However, his reality, his political reality, in the way that he lived, meant that his surroundings, which was Iraq, which was an absolute cesspit, and at the time that he was there, where it was the source of half the bid'ahs that we know, all the deviant cults, the Khawarij, the Rafida, the Qadariyah, all of the big deviant sects were all there, fabricating left, right, and center. This is one of the reasons why the Hanafi school is very, very much based upon hypothetical scenarios, and a lot of fiqh, a lot of what we call Ahlul Ra'i. That's why when you study Islam and you study fiqh, you realize that there are two separate schools, Ahlul Ra'i and Ahlul Hadith. You got Shafi'i and Ahmad ibn Hanbal and some parts of Malik, when he's in that mood, that belong to Ahlul Hadith. And then you got Ahlul Ra'i, which is Malik and Abu Hanifa. Folks that are using a bit more of their own kind of thinking and free kind of thinking and thinking outside the box. One is using the fact that he doesn't have great access to hadith that can be trusted because so many people are lying and creating false reports. And then the other one is trying to reconcile the fact that there's lots of authentic narrations, but he's witnessing something different, known as the action of the people of Medina. He's living in Medina, and they are doing things which are different to what some of the narrations are. So he decided to kind of give a bit more credence to the people of Medina, and so therefore sometimes would put a kind of maybe an authentic hadith to the side and say, I think I prefer what I'm seeing in front of me. He's not been long gone, the Prophet ﷺ. His actions are still fresh, the family's still here. I think I'd rather go with that. So this is all part of the history. This is when you study this history of fiqh and whatever, you'll realize this is very basic stuff. It's nothing to do with the timeline. And of course, the statement that Imam Bukhari's Sahih is the most authentic kind of source, that's not correct, of course. It is the most authentic book of hadith, which is collected as a book of hadith. But you will find far more authentic hadith in the Muwatta of Imam Malik, for example, which only has 3 people, for example. You'll find a more authentic hadith in other collections which are not actually preserved. So, for example, in some of the papers of some of the Tabi'een, there's only 2 people in the chain, and those papers have been collected. We have those papers today, but they're just papers. So as a collected book, Bukhari's Sahih is the most authentic source, but not source material. We have far more authentic source material, which Bukhari himself also will quote. But then if I was to say that Bukhari has quoted, let's say you are quoting me, yeah? And people are coming to you and saying, yeah, Aqil is the better authority. Actually, this is not a good example, because you probably will be a better authority on me than I will be on me, because I always forget what I say. So you don't use me as an example. But it's crazy that someone else is relying upon another person, third party, and they're not going to their direct source. So that's the explanation. I hope that makes sense, huh?
Yeah, Sheikh, I understand.
Barakallahu feek. Saleh, unmute yourself, bro.
Assalamualaikum, Sheikh.
Salam, what's happening, man?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm all right, man. I'm doing good, bro. Just good to see you, bro. And I saw that, I think it's Anthony, huh?
Oh, yes. My brother-in-law.
Yeah, I saw that, man. I thought, oh, hey. I was like, mashallah, mashallah. Anyway, small world, bro.
Quick question. I'm trying to reconcile the idea of not taking people out of the equation and, I guess, attaching yourself to righteous company, and ever more so, I guess, in an Islamic sense. It probably speaks to weakness of my faith, to be honest with you, because I think Islamically that's where that's been at its most extreme for me, where I think I'm kind of led by charismatic teachers, scholars and the like. And so how does one reconcile that? And especially for a group like this, where probably lots of people like me...
I know exactly what you're saying, so I'm going to jump in just so that you don't get into areas which are uncomfortable for you to say, because I can feel that kind of, and I just want to let me help you here. There's a big difference being motivated by and being led by and being dependent on. That's the difference. So when we're talking about take people out of the equation, we mean by that, because if you remember what we said in one of the sessions in Hajj, and I say everywhere, the reason that we are called Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, because we are the people who follow and live and breathe and die on the Sunnah, number one. Wal Jama'ah, we are people of the congregation. We are not loners. We are not people who do Islam by itself. We spoke about this, well, not in Hajj, but I often in lessons, I said that the community that got ravaged most in COVID was the Muslims, not the non-Muslims. You saw that a lot of these non-Muslims thrived off it. Netflix sales went through the roof. People were like, perfect, this is what I want now, family time, it was great. And, they started watching every single drama that they've ever seen in their life, blah, 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 blah. Yani, the people who have not been practicing life correctly, they were now buzzing off the being alone and away from people, and, they're looking for any excuse, etc., etc., etc. Whereas the Muslims were devastated by this, because our deen is all about doing things together, Ramadan together, Taraweeh together, being in the masjid together. We are Jama'ah, we are always we're together, but not dependent upon one another. That your iman is not linked to the actions of another person, so that when they slip up or when they're exposed or when they do this, then you're like, oh man, that's it, I give up. That's what happens when you are dependent upon another person. But being led by, whilst keeping your own brain, saying, Allah, this guy who's charismatic, whatever, he's no different to me, but Allah's given him a gift. Allah's given her a gift. And you know what? I'm going to benefit from it. But Allah gives that gift to many people. And He takes it from many people. And you look at that person and you say to him, the guy that you're really impressed with, you look at him and say to him, you know what, mashallah, you're doing well, son, but you know what, I pray for you that Allah protects you, because it's not and you bring him down, bro. You don't need to bring him down. Sometimes even you bring him down to his face. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said that if a person is praised in front of you, then throw some dirt in his face to bring his ego down. Do you know what I mean? Because he's in danger and everybody else is in danger. We need to keep that guy on the level. And so absolutely we get led by these, powerful people, scholars, teachers, friends that we see, bosses or whoever that we really see as a leadership kind of leaders, and we should buzz off it and we should really be grateful that we feel better and our iman is high when we're with them, and good company makes us feel good. But we don't become dependent. When you realize that someone is making you feel good, what you should be then thinking is, alhamdulillah for good company. Now let me find out what it is about that person that's making me feel good. You find it's their charity. You find it's their behavior. You find it's that. So right, now I need to start giving charity. Now I need to start to improve my behavior. You got to take the actual generic qualities that are making that person, the special person that person is, and then making sure that you become that self-sustainable version and using them as inspiration, but never being dependent upon them.
I've got part two to that question, because I'm guessing a lot. There's probably a significant portion of people that came to Hajj that probably don't have a large Muslim social circle. And so, what would your advice be for those types of people, or who live in areas that aren't Muslim majority?
My advice is that they cannot remain in that state. They cannot. There is no excuse. There's a reason why in Cheadle, which is where I live, to be near the masjid adds £100,000 onto your house than not be near the masjid. Look at Texas, look at London, look at whatnot. People have got to be ready to pay, right? There's a reason why you tell the people who are serious about their deen or not in every aspect. So, for example, in Islamic mortgages, there are people out there that won't leave their haram mortgage, and they say, yeah, I don't know about this other version. It's actually more expensive. The halal one, quote unquote, regardless of whether you believe it's halal or not. But if you listen to what the people say, they say, how can it be halal? It's more expensive. As if the halal one was meant to be cheaper. Do you know what I mean? People just want cheap. People don't actually want to commit. And so I want to say that it is not easy to be in an area of quality Muslim company. It's not. And you're going to have to pay for it. You have to pay for it. And I mean, pay for it. And sometimes it's pay for it like this, or sometimes it needs to be, you've got to set yourself a budget. So for example, there are some people that got to realize that I need to budget for an increase in the petrol, because I am going to go to that masjid every single day. I'm not going to miss it, because that's the community that I need. It's going to keep me strong. It's going to give me all the good vibes that I need. So I'm going to have to just put in the time. I'm going to pay for it. I can't move there because I can't afford £100,000 extra, but I can afford the £20 extra a week on the extra petrol and the extra half an hour that I'm going to have to credit, etc., etc., etc. So my point is that you cannot sleep on that. Community and company is everything. The Prophet ﷺ made it so clear, al-mar'u ala dini sahibihi, that a person is upon the religion of his friend, meaning that you will always be upon what your mates, your social circles and everything are. And I said this in the final farewell words where at Hajj, I said that there's some big decisions for people to make when they go back. And at the front is changing the company. You have to actively change that company. You've got to actively change the circle. And it starts small, because a lot of people can't do mass overhaul very quickly because of financial reasons, because they're so embedded with their family, because of their work, whatever. It takes time, but the steps go in. So instead of putting your resignation into the company that is a disaster, is bad for you, man, or is doing haram stuff anyway, or you start looking for jobs, as opposed to that before you were not even thinking about looking. You're not going to, chuck in your resignation, but you start looking. You start asking people. When it comes to the circles that you can't make to physically, well, you got to make sure you don't miss a single online one. A lot of people maintain an amazing quality company online with different, groups and circles and whatever and the like. Logical progression is a classic example of that. The vast majority of the people are not attendees in person. And by the way, all of the LP attendants know that the best LP students are the ones who are not there. In actual fact, the people who are sitting in front of me every week in LP get the lowest scores in the exams. So the higher quality people, quote unquote, are the ones that are online. So don't also sleep on the online kind of aspect. So the answer to your question is that you've got to grab the bull by the horns, aggressive. Can't be sitting on that and sitting there moaning and groaning and whatever. Recognize that it's a problem, which is the first victory, because most people can't see it, right? That I've got to change the company, I've got to take active steps, and then make those steps. And you'll realize that it just starts to become easier. The first few steps are the ones which are difficult. Yani when you're just stopping, the people saying, hey, let's go out for a chill, let's go for a fag, let's go for this, let's go for that. And you're kind of being very kind of cold to it. They realize they ignore this first time, then they make a little comment the second time. The third one, they're like, there's something happening. And you got to you just got to say, you know what, bro, I'm just not that guy anymore, man. Just, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to upset them too much, but you just got to say it. And you don't need to worry about the consequences. So, yeah, it's you got to be active about it, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Can I jump in, Sheikh? This was something that Imani and I were discussing. She messaged me privately. She said she was going to send me her thoughts about the reflections I had shared. And we were just speaking about like friendships and basically when somebody starts practicing how they might feel really alone. And I was telling her that this is something I've dealt with like my whole life basically, is having to give up those friendships where you feel like you really connect and you're vibing and you have that like amazing compatibility with a person, but they're just not practicing enough. And so you have to give up those friendships sometimes to replace them with friendships where you don't have that compatibility with the person and you don't feel like you vibe that well. And it's just kind of an unfortunate situation, a quote unquote unfortunate, meaning you're doing it for the sake of Allah, that you're giving up those friendships, which you might feel like, oh, this person gets me on a level that I've never, had with anybody else, but they're kind of encouraging me to move towards haram. Whereas this other person is more practicing. Maybe we don't have the same sense of humor. We don't have the same sense of style. I don't really, have the same interests as them, but they're in the masjid all the time and they're keeping me, on the right track. And so that's just like one of the difficulties, I guess. It could be the case that you find like really practicing friends and it's great and you do get along really well, but sometimes making efforts in this kind of area, sometimes it means being friends with people that you don't connect with on the same level, but you're doing it for that reason, for the sake of Allah. Literally love for the sake of Allah, not for the sake of the ease or the happy feelings it gives you.
So, look, I mean, that's a really good point, because this goes to something that I was going to, hopefully my last question really. In the corporate sector, there's a really big push around kind of mentorship in a structured but distant way, where you don't have to be somebody's friend, but it's nurturing, I guess. It's something that me and you spoke about, Sheikh, in Hajj, around kind of leadership and I guess emulating great leadership. And it's something that I was thinking about you and your team on, really. But if there is like a way, I guess, for I want to say novice Muslims, because it's the only thing that kind of springs to mind in terms of terminology, but aligning themselves with Islamic mentors, if you like. And they don't necessarily have to be teachers, but it could be fellow brothers and sisters within the Hajj group, or an extension of your team, I guess, Sheikh. But I just think there's opportunity, especially when I read some of the bios in the early days around what some of the brothers and sisters kind of do, whether that's vocationally or even Islamically. It just seems like there's an opportunity here for almost forced aligning or forced mentorship, and it removes that thing that you were talking about with that, which is around kind of, you don't necessarily have to share common social ideologies to befriend someone, because actually it's the Islamic arena that you're trying to kind of enhance for yourself, if you know what I mean. So you can't kind of got to force yourself to it. But in the corporate world, mentorship kind of exists there for that, and I don't really see that in a structured way in the Islamic arena, or maybe there is, and I just don't know about it.
I don't know. With that, I'd like you to make your comment on it. But I'll say one thing, because you mentioned me and my team, right, as an example of that, right? And you kind of, So here's the irony: you've got you got the team in front of you, you've got Widad in front of you, you've got the chief, and you've got if you're using us as an example, ask them if I've done one single ever session with any of them, privately, structured, what? Not at all. Not at, this corporate bakwasi, this is obviously the modern speak way, life coaching, blah blah blah. They obviously, I'm sure they can make it work, but what they're basically repurposing and repackaging is what actually has been known throughout time, and that is that when people align on the important matters, not on the matters that they like, just like Widad gave a perfect example of, that they enjoy each other's company for social reasons and X and Y and whatever, but actually because they're an ummah, because they know that they are their brother and sister in deen, the ones that, the important things, and that Allah comes first, and that practicing state of mind, as opposed to I just wear the hijab and I just pray the prayer. Everybody does that. That's not what a practicing Muslim is. A practicing Muslim is the one who is always thinking about Allah, always, at every second that they do anything, think anything, say anything, refuse anything, accept anything. Allah's first and foremost. What will the right thing be? That's what I call a practicing Muslim. It doesn't matter whether they achieve it or not. That's irrelevant. It's practicing. That's a practicing Muslim. And so what we're talking about is that these are the people that we need to unify, and they're going to be so different in their ethnicity and their language and their ages and their, the generations and blah, blah, and their hobbies and likes. They're going to be so different. But it doesn't matter, because they are unified on the most important aspects. Now, the reason that I say that is that when they are, then they move together, they study together, they challenge each other, they develop trust for one another. And when you trust one another, you're on the same page, okay? Then suddenly you have the mentorship result, or the result of leaders and the result of teams that you look up to and whatever. I'll say something, Saleh, I want you to think about this. The majority of the team that you see that is the team that are the closest people to me were people taken from people like you. They were all people that did programs previously throughout the last 15, 20 years, or whatever, last 10 years. A few of them are obviously people that have been just studying, but none of them have been groomed, curated, specifically whatever, other than in a general sense. They carried on studying. They realized that I only had that as a objective, that I want you to learn, I want you to develop, I want you to get better. And whilst they're on that path, I'll always be available. So that's me being in my Murabbi role. This is what tarbiyah is. That's what I'm offering to every single person here. And every single person that keeps up, they'll get my access the same as all these people will. All these people did, sorry. So the reason I'm just telling you this, Saleh, is do not overcomplicate it, right? Do not fall into the trap of the modern world and current millennial generations and Gen Z generations and pretty much these folks that have turned this into some kind of, professional qualification and this, that, blah, blah, blah. There's no professional nothing to this. It's very, very simple, basic principles generically that I've never done a life coaching session in my entire life. I've never done public speaking my entire life. I've never done the science of psychology of people of blah, blah. Never, ever, ever. Just study of the Prophet ﷺ, study of how Allah speaks, the Quran, whatever. Never did I do anything. I've got no particular qualification in English or the kind of things that people would think that I have to be able to pull off the things I professionally do and the structures that I work in. And this is not the case. We all have the ability to be better. We all have the ability to get access to teachers and mentors, but we've got to put the effort in. The difference between my team is that every single one of them went above and beyond in their own revision, homework, in their keeping up the standards, in their practicing of what they learned and whatever. It was clear, it was so obvious that these are people that are wanting more. And that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in people that are serious about their deen and that I can trust. Trusting comes later. Afterwards, you travel with them, you test them. You don't immediately bring people into your inner circle, right? Into your inner circle until you know that they can be trusted. They've got what it takes. They've shown you that over the years. But now it's not something complicated. There is no structure. There is no whatever. I'm not saying that they aren't valid and they don't have their space. I'm sure they do, but don't make that the big necessary step that needs to come next. Embrace everything that we're saying. Join the circles we're telling you. Be in the places we're saying to meet you. If there's folks that are going around, you hear that there's going to be so-and-so around there, so-and-so there, make sure you're there. Attend as much as you possibly can. Be in the good company. Keep improving. Keep revising. Keep reading. Everyone starts somewhere. Nobody was born a scholar. Nobody was born practicing. Everybody is going. Plenty of time. And everyone in this group got plenty of time. Remember we said, look at the age profile. It's only been in the last 10, 15 years where I can actively tell you that the average age 15 years ago was around 50 something. And average age right now is about 30 something. It's a crazy drop. It's a crazy drop. And that can only mean good. It means that more people are going to end up in a better place quicker, right? Just like common sense. Anyway, Wallahu a'lam.
You're saying that we don't have the structure, but I beg to differ. Like, the whole reason why you were...
We don't have the structure.
I mean,
structure.
maybe we don't have the structure that these corporate mentoring programs do, but the whole reason why you were encouraging people to write introductions and to read other people's introductions and to get to know each other in base camp, the whole reason why we insisted on having 400 people so that we could get the whole building to ourselves, so that people can be talking to each other, can be meeting each other. These programs are entirely, Sheikh's programs are, the whole point of them is to be putting people in good company and to be bringing them into these classes. It is a giant kind of like networking system in a sense. It could have been set up in such a way that
it's a fair point what you're saying. I mean, obviously, it's ironic because you've kind of gone corporate on it, and as you said, you've just actually said it as it is. What else is it? And you're right. Actually, ours is probably more structured than the most structured of structured kind of rules. And I'm cussing people and I'm calling people out. How embarrassing that you guys have had 4 weeks and this week you haven't sent that. So I'm even making it like beyond its ruling. It's not obligatory. It's not a sunnah. So you're right that I'm kind of creating a structure, but have I ever thought of it like that? And do I want people to kind of trap themselves into believing that the structure is more important than the consequence? If I could achieve the same consequences other ways, I'd want to. But you're absolutely right. I mean, everything is so controlled to the extent that that I won't do a Hajj program if it doesn't have a reflections at the end. I won't do a Hajj program if they're not going to give me my own building. I'm saying, sorry, I'm not doing it. So that's the most extreme of structures. You're right. I'm probably very hypocritical in what I say, but I don't want to sell it. No, that is a hypocritical statement because it is sold as
and even when people ask you what keeps things fresh, if you're going for Hajj every year, what keeps it fresh, you always say it's the people. It's all about the people. And so the thing is, we might not be telling everybody, hey, if you read in somebody's introduction that they're, an engineer living in London and you're also an engineer living in London, you should reach out to him. We're not spelling it out that way, but these programs are set up in such a way that you're meeting people on these trips who have similar mindsets, who have similar goals. And the point is for everybody to make use of each other, to make use of that community, and to use the other people in this group to try to get that support from other practicing Muslims. Join the classes that Sheikh is teaching and mentioning, and yeah, basically getting that mentorship in that way. So
it's very interesting. It's very interesting because I really don't know why I'm so allergic to the whole concept of terming it in these kind of ways. I found myself always since years just finding it very problematic, and for no reason, actually, no rational reason anyway, that I balk at the idea when people are saying, well, it is kind of like a life coaching and it is a mentoring and there is a clear template and there is a structure and I wonder whether the reason for that, I don't know what the reason for it is, but I wonder, is it my fear of people creating bid'ah or unnecessary barriers in development when there clearly isn't? Do you know what I mean?
To me, it's all pedantic, but like even with the Quran classes, that comes to mind as an example, that we're pulling volunteers from the crowd. That's a form of mentorship, is you're giving responsibility. Or I can even speak about my own experience. Like, I was 19 years old when I started LP, and you guys were handing me passwords to your accounts and giving me that responsibility when you saw that I was, you know, willing to put in the work and to contribute. And that's what you're doing here, is you're seeing if people are qualified and they're willing to put in the work and they're willing to contribute, you're giving them that responsibility, and that builds a person. So maybe we're not spelling it out in that way, but that is the intent behind the program, is to develop people and to spot that talent, to spot the people who have that drive and who have that desire, I guess, and to use them. I mean, so many people in this group were helping others sign up on Nusuk. That, you know, some people might consider that something small, but I don't know other groups where it's coming from the leadership and they're telling people, you know, go and help others. I feel that that was something unique that we did, and that's just one small example of how these trips are kind of used as a conduit in that way. I don't know if I'm expressing myself the best way, but basically what I'm trying to say is that it's been that all along, but it's maybe not packaged in that way or sold in that way. That's the intention.
That's the point I want to get to, right? What you've said, everything, of course, we're not stupid. We're doing all of these with a reason. So there's a reason why I want the people from the crowd themselves to be part of the teaching thingy. There's always about making people realize where they are. And there's always, when I'm speaking to people, I'm testing to see, you know, that's always happening in the subconscious. The real question is this, because I'm like Saleh said, that we spoke about this in the Hajj as well, and he's kind of going there now as well. I always my warning radar starts going when I start to see people who say things like, you know what, why don't we have a course for this? Why don't we set up a organization for this? Why don't we write a book on this? That terrifies me, that kind of statement, because that's where I now feel that people are creating the unnecessary extra step, when in actual fact, what I want people to realize is that everything that you are looking for and wanting, and you didn't even probably realize, is already actually happening in the well-planned already, but not making it obvious that this is all a structure, and keeping that kind of also out of the heart and minds of people, the structure, so they don't focus on it too much. Meaning that that whole idea of, you know, I'm not going to do this because it works in practice but doesn't work in theory, right? People start to get lost in the structure and the theory and the let's do a course for it, let's teach it, let's meet on a no. This is tarbiyah. It's natural. Just follow the flow. Everything is under control. Don't you worry. Just attend, be there, ask. What it is all happening. It's all under control. It's all part of the wider picture. And so it is very, 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 very planned. And you know better than most, and how strict I am and how angry I get when little things are missed out because it's going against the plan. And you know, but at the same time, I don't ever want it to be about the plan. I want it to be about the consequence of the plan, so that people can see the value that they earn or learn or benefit from, and then spread it in their own way, in their own structures, in their own little kind of leadership way or life coaching way, or whatever, with their family, with their small circles. I don't want to, you know, like I said, the tarbiyah cannot. It's scary when I hear we should package this, because when you do that, you kind of restrict people to it, even if they don't want to be restricted to it. Whereas we've got to be bringing people towards the results, and then giving them the confidence to say, these are the results. Now you go and create the results the way that you want to, by using some of the generic kind of principles. And I wonder whether that's one of the reasons why I kind of shy away from making it too formal and corporate in the wording and the expression, if that makes sense.
I don't know if I had to summarize it.
Sorry, just to say one more thing. So much so with that the feedback from this Hajj group genuinely made me question whether I should change the name or drop the name of Tarbiyah program. Genuinely took me there. You know that I've been thinking about it. That these folks are absolutely, either I am doing such a poor job of explaining the objective that it was never a program in the way that you think a program is, right? it was the best tarbiyah program you're ever going to get, believe me. But problem is, when I say that, in their minds, they're thinking of like whatever a program means in their minds. It's got to have a like lesson 1, 2.3, clause this, blah, blah. Got to say this, do that, blah, blah. And I thought to myself, I'm actually causing a problem for myself here by calling it the Hajj Tarbiyah program. Just drop the Tarbiyah program and just call it, the best Hajj experience you're ever going to have. Therefore, now go people out, go out there. They really enjoy themselves. They get all the benefits of the Tarbiyah program because everything continues, but it just wasn't called a Tarbiyah program. And I was actually thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it, to be honest, honestly, because I just wonder whether people are becoming too lost in where's the Tarbiyah? And I'm like, bro, you're getting hardcore Tarbiyah right now. Do you realize that? But people are so lost. As I said, it works in practice, but doesn't work in theory. So we're going to leave it because we're so obsessed by the theory. You get what I'm saying with that?
Yeah, but learning happens through contradiction. So when somebody
We have to go and get all flipping and see boudoir on us, bro. Like normal human terms, man. We're human, basic people, yara.
Let me explain what I mean. So what I mean is, well, when you teach a kid that numbers go from 0 to 100, and they hold that belief, and then all of a sudden they enter year whatever, 3 or 4 or whatever, and then you tell them, actually, no, we have negatives and we have, integers and whatever. That's learning, is you're contradicting their previously held beliefs. And so people might come into it hearing Tarbiyah program and having a certain conception in their head, but then you keep telling them, basically the one line to summarize everything we've said so far is trust the process. Keep trusting the process. Even now, even after we've returned back home, Hajj is over, a month has passed, you have to keep trusting the process. Sheikh keeps saying you have to join these classes, keep in touch, stay on Telegram, keep talking to people on the chat. This is all part of the process. And the more that people get confused by the word tarbiyah, the more we just keep insisting that this is tarbiyah and that's how they'll learn, I think. Those are my 2 cents.
Explanation, man. I've got to say, that's a really, really good explanation, mashallah. That's good. So, but the real problem is, why do I get so angry then that people are not seeing it?
Because it's triggering.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
No, it's just...
1 second. Is this what they call being gaslit?
Maybe not.
Are they gaslighting me? I think that's what they call gaslighting. By the way,
no,
what's PHP?
You mean PFP?
PFP. What the hell was PFP? 100
profile picture. Did you see his profile picture?
What?
Profile picture.
100. You wrote about someone who's cussing me and my yogurt and chocolate. You said 100% PFP.
Tasneem's, I said he has the best profile picture. Tasneem had a picture of all of the Minna cushions and pillows and everything as his profile picture. I loved it. MashaAllah.
Can you just speak in English? Right.
Anyway, I think that we all benefit from the reminder. The fact that Saleh brought this up and that we were able to speak about it, I think is valuable, because I think it's easy to forget that every step of the process, it is part of the process, and we might not think it is, but it is. And even when we're chatting about chocolate muffins and strawberry yogurt and whatever, it's all part of the process.
So, what would be good is to ask Saleh. Saleh, what do you think about that, what you just heard? Tying it together with what we spoke about Hajj and now and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, I really agree with you, especially sister, with that, is in the way that you've explained it. I mean, interestingly, like I've been proximate, shall we say, to a number of different groups, and in a way, it was kind of one of the enlightening and quite comforting things about joining this Hajj group, that for the first time it sort of bridged a bit of a gap for me personally anyway, in the Islamic environment, and to a degree the understanding of living in a non-Islamic environment, and just recentering, kind of focusing in your personal relationship with Allah and stuff, whereas I'm not going to name other groups and stuff, but there's always, like, for some other groups, there might be intermediaries that you've got to go through and that sort of stuff. So that, for me, was just a breath of fresh air. But it was also embodied by the people that were kind of working around you, Sheikh. And that, for me, when I'm still penning my review, if you like, but for me, that's definitely a key USP, if you want to call it that, for this Hajj group, in that the organisation, and it's funny because I watched a YouTube podcast a couple of weeks ago with some American, it's like an American podcast, and it was this brother, this Sheikh. He was basically complaining about his experience as a guide for 2024 Hajj and all the things that went wrong. And I thought, it was really enlightening, because I thought everything that he complained about, this group didn't experience in one iota of. And that, to me, demonstrated, the relationship that you have with Al-Bayt. What's that?
Send the link. Make sure you send the link. Yeah, send the link.
I mean, it was actually quite depressing to watch, only for the fact that there are other groups that had to experience what they experience.
I'm not going to get depressed by it, bro. My ego needs a boost, bro.
No, but completely that, because it just, for me, it just went to show that the strength of the relationship that you appear to have with Al-Bayt, the strength of the relationship that Al-Bayt themselves have with the commission and stuff. So it was just, and for other groups that just wasn't there, they were just landed in it. Him specifically as a guide, he didn't, even though he'd been on Hajj a number of times as a guide, he wasn't expecting to be kind of a guide plus, the first aider plus the logistics person plus the, and all of that. And so, all of the, like, when I think about all of the little things, like you sending Arif the day before to scope out Mina camp and all of that, is those little learning lessons that we probably took for granted, but that's 20 years of kind of going through this process that other groups aren't benefiting from. So that was going to be part of my review, really, when you said to give us the practical stuff.
No, Jazakallah khair. And I'll just say one thing though, and this is important. There is a reason. There's a factor that plays a very important role in how that level of excellence and organization can get pulled off. It's when you are in an environment where you are enjoying yourself. And you enjoy yourself when you know you're doing it for the right reasons and when it's being made easy for you. And the believers are a fantastically loyal group of people to work with. I've told people this before. The Muslims, as a general, right? They are the most forgiving people on the planet. I mean, can you imagine? I'm sure I said this at Hajj. Can you imagine having to go every Friday to local mosques to listen to absolute dross, from a guy who's got absolutely no idea what he's talking about, and he thinks that he's basically repeating the 1 o'clock news to us as opposed to giving us an actual, a khutbah according to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Muslims all sit there and don't move, and they pray their thing, and they go, and they come back again next week, and they come back again the week after, and they come back again the week after, and they are loyal, and they don't say a single word. No one writes a complaint and say, this flipping khatib is a waste man. He can't speak anything. He shouldn't be. Nobody complains. We are so loyal to our scholars, our imams, our whatever. So we already are taking advantage. Then, and of course, this is very carefully curated. I know that because I'm the architect of it. You create a group dynamic that is based upon, levels of certain things, and better humor, better banter, better seriousness, better this, that, whatever. And then you're making them do exercises and you encourage them to do certain things. And then it's going to create an environment, and that environment then creates a very, very healthy situation where you want to then be organizing and putting things forward and being in that scenario. So then one thing leads to another. That's why we keep saying it's about the people. It is so important for the people to be on thinking. And there's a reason why I keep saying trust the process, because the second when a person doesn't trust the process, a lot of people will have noticed that at the key moments, the people were unified, and that's when it went through. But at the key moments when it wasn't, it stuck out like a sore thumb. Like, for example, when I said at the when we hit absolute disaster at Manchester Airport, at Jeddah Airport, right? Those folks who were there, who are still in the call right now, It's got a bit late, by the way. I think it's been about 17 hours now. But and everything went absolutely upside down. And I shouted out a massive, for the use of other words, now it's about time you got to trust the process. And there was one or two people that completely not just abandoned the process, but they rejected authority, and they not just went along and did their own thing. They took down the whatever. They rebelled openly to create a situation that led to a loss of confidence, which led them to confuse the exact Uhud situation. You hear what I'm saying? Why the hell am I going down that direction? All right, forget that. What's happening here? Aisha? I don't know what's happening here because obviously Widad's not here either, and I can't see a single hand up or down. Aisha, are you wanting to speak? I don't know, because it's just that yours is a different color, and you've already been. Alaikum salam. Labiba!
How are you doing?
What's happening, Geezer? You absolute rascal.
I'm all good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm looking forward to your brownies, bro. One way or the other.
Inshallah.
Not bad. Hardcore diet, just so that I can lose enough weight before that whole weekend. Yeah, you know that.
Sounds good. I want to cast your mind back maybe 13 years. I came across a video of yours months ago now on Hope or Hijrah. I don't know if you recall it.
Yes, I do. Chido Masjid, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a couple of months.
By the way, had to be taken down last week. You know that?
No way.
Yeah. There's some European court prosecution trying to prosecute me, whatnot. So they took it down. But anyway, go on, Karen.
Okay.
That's
I
why
watched it a couple of months ago.
That's why I remembered it when you said that name, because I saw it last week. Otherwise I wouldn't have remembered it. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, and my takeaway in terms of what we spoke about, I think it focused a lot more on the legalities of it, and perhaps less on what the optimal solution might be. Now, obviously, it's going to be case by case. It's going to vary for a lot of people, but I guess I want to get your opinion on how things have specifically in the UK last decade, and what your opinion is on things right now.
That's a really good question, actually. That's a really, really good question. When you think about, you were that clear on that, that was your position 13 years ago. What does a 13 years later AE say after now staying where he did? Well, actually, I didn't. I've been all over the place. Essentially, what was a summary of what I was saying? What I was saying is that it is permissible to be in this kind of country, and anyone that can do a better version of their deen abroad should. And personally, I find that I practice deen better here. That's pretty much a summary of. I don't even know whether I gave my personal opinion. Did I, or did I not?
No, you didn't. No,
right.
I don't think so.
Because it was meant to be. Because actually, the lecture was very much in response to people wanting a very clear legal argument. They wanted the ruling as opposed to kind of experience. And obviously, I was a lot younger then, and people not really kind of trusting my own personal maybe opinion so much, and so I was more in an academic mode to prove the point as opposed to impress upon them my opinion. I guess the older AE now, the 13-year later version. By the way, it's a lot longer. It's a lot. It was a lot earlier than 13 years. That lecture was uploaded probably 13 years ago. Is my guess. I think it would have been recorded probably even 5 years before then, or maybe even longer. Actually, Labib. That might be going back 20 years, because the structure of the masjid would indicate that. And I believe the politics of the time would indicate that. Yeah, I think it was 20 years ago, that, not 13 years. I would say that one of the key lines that I said in that lecture was that you got to have an out. Yeah, there has to be an out. And I believe that now more so than ever. But I believed it 100% then, and I believe it even more so now. There's got to be a plan B. There's always got to be a plan B. However, I absolutely still believe that the future of Islam lies in the West. I do not believe that it is in the East per se. I think that the level of the Muslims and the level of the quality of the Muslims that are producing the leaders that are there in our Muslim countries is as deplorable as it ever has been. And I believe that some way, somehow, something is going to happen where it's going to be a major impact. Is going to come somewhere from not come somewhere from the West, meaning that the Western Muslims are still going to be the driving force for the next stage of the Islamic revolution. The Islamic awakening, which is known as the Sahwa, started about 25, 30 years ago. We were part of that first wave that brought us into the deen and stuff. It hasn't hit the second wave. Nowhere close. We're still riding that first wave. We've got very poor quality Muslims as part of the dawah. There's nothing been materially changed in society. Nothing materially. Few small structural changes like financial regulatory changes across the world, where Islamic banking has now made a big kind of difference. The Muslim pound, as it's known, is obviously making its presence felt in the boycotting campaigns across the world. So these are small financial little changes, but it's not massive in terms of the second phase. Second phase is probably going to come with a very highly practicing level of politics. I don't know. I'm not sure. But my point is that I don't believe that the ruling has changed. I don't believe the more unfriendly kind of conditions as such sometimes has made any difference to the fiqh of it. I still do believe case-by-case basis. I still do believe that it's obligatory for a person to leave the country if their deen is going to be better somewhere else, or if they're being prevented from obligations, absolute obligation, just like I did 20 years ago. But I believe that that people should not feel depressed about living amongst the kuffar as long as they're doing the da'wah, as long as they're being the best version of themselves, as long as they're studying and getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so the personal and then the community and the social obligations are being fulfilled to non-Muslims and Muslims, then I think everyone's good in the West where they are. But they've got to be not naive. They can't allow another Bosnia to happen, and it will happen in a flash. It will happen in a flash. And I'll tell you something right now. Though, my boys in the States have been like thinking it's going to happen anytime. Omar Soleimani, and in his chats to me, we've been saying that every year is like I'm moving. I'm doing Qatar, I'm doing Qatar. And Yasser started speaking like that in the last 1-2 years of Trump very seriously, about that as well. And I was like, yeah, don't be silly. And I even to Omar, I told him, you're just chatting, and you won't, and it won't be. Ironically, this is the beautiful irony. I think Omar will go, and if he goes, it won't be because of the American situation. It'll be purely because of he wants to do more for the Middle East and the Palestinian kind of whatever, and he wants more political support, like in Qatar, which is also all of these du'at are political pawns, right? Whether they like it or not, and so even those folks that are identifying very dangerous conditions in which they could, a pseudo Bosnia could happen in places like America if Trump comes back and whatever. Even those people realize that still that the level and the quality of the Islam is still far better than any other reality they could enjoy elsewhere, without saying that they shouldn't have a plan B. Everyone's got to have a plan B. Everyone's got to be ready to, the line, I don't know if I quoted it in the lecture or not, but it's the line out of Heat. You gotta, what the heck? When the heat comes around the corner, you got to be ready to drop everything in 15 seconds. Whatever the line is, but that's the line, man. That's the absolute line with the believers. You've got to have a plan B and be ready. Wallahu a'lam.
Just to expand on that, if I can. So both of my brothers have moved out of the UK. So they approach it from a very pro-Hijra mindset. And a lot of conversations they have with people, even if it's from a plan B perspective, in that if your deen is compromised, if you find yourself in a position, let's say, for example, the school case where the girl was prevented from praying, and you find yourself in that sort of situation, you obviously, like you said, you need that plan B. But a lot of people, I think, and I'm keen to get an idea of if you've faced something similar, a lot of people become very defensive to that. In that then they would attack certain issues in other Muslim countries, and there are obviously loads of issues with the political side of things, with freedom of expression and whatnot, and they kind of use that as as I guess a bat to bash those countries.
Yeah, as an
Is that a
so,
common thing you see?
of course, and it is a danger, of course. You know, it just becomes just a lazy way of deflecting the argument. Listen, nothing can change the basic score. The bigger problem here, and this is the whole point of Protect This House. That's why Protect This House is the course that it is. That the biggest problem is not the country, and I'm super critical of the people who think they've gone to make hijrah when they've just done economic migration to a more easier lifestyle. I'm super critical because I have not seen. I can count on one hand. How about that? Let me be honest. In my life, and I get to meet far more people than you do, Labib, yeah? And I'm aware of more people than you are. We're talking thousands. Of the thousands of people that I know that have moved abroad to Muslim countries, I can probably count on one hand that I believe made hijrah. As simple as that. People are using the Islamic basis as a justification, as a factor. But is it the actual reason? What's being given more power in the decision? What's given the greater in the pie of the decision-making process? What's the large lion's share? It's economic security. And it's enjoyment of life. XY. Otherwise, they would all be in Afghanistan, bro. Otherwise, they would all be in X. They would be looking to really do it. And I don't say that they'd be in Afghanistan in this kind of, as you said, the lazy way that is just bashing Muslim countries. I don't mean it like that. I mean that they would go to Afghanistan and build infrastructure. They would be, I'm not using it in the dismissive sense. I'm saying that people make these moves out of as much as of convenience as it is as their idea of Islamic idealism. And then, as I said, when these people go, what is it that we actually see, right? And that's why you were right first time round when you said it is a case-by-case basis. It isn't a general ruling. If there's a person that I have zero expectation from in the community, zero expectation, then good luck to you. Go to your Dubai and your Oman and your KL and your Qatar and your Turkey, which is a growing community as well, because you're not doing anything here. So nobody's going to miss you over there either. You're just another secular Muslim, likes to hear the adhan, right? Likes to hear the adhan and praise in the masjid, right? That it's like the whole, the way that we criticize the Guji community in the UK, this insular community that is only focused on, that as long as the niqab is allowed, as long as the food is halal, as long as the madrasa is there, then it's all okay. This secular form of Islam, okay, is one of the reasons why then when they are exposed to the wider realities of life, where it's not part of their kind of, their ghetto kind of existences, then the whole thing starts to then unravel. It starts to become a problem. But when they're amongst their own little kind of ghettos, they are thriving. And if you look in the UK, those kind of ghettoized areas, the Boltons, the Prestons, the whatever, they've got some of the highest net worth Muslims in this country that are doing the biggest work for political engagement, social and development, XYZ, blah blah blah. And so the examples and arguments to and fro will always be there for certain people that we don't expect something from in the da'wah scene. They just want to go and carry on living. They want to wear their own clothes, and they want to make sure that their son and daughter are not told about, told to become lesbians and God knows what. Then it's going to be, we're not missing them here, we're not missing them there. Okay. But if there's a person who's involved in the da'wah and educating and teaching and practicing Islam properly, and I mean properly, meaning not ignoring politics, these people go abroad and suddenly a whole portion of their deen disappears. There's nothing about speaking the truth, enjoying the good, forbidding the evil, towards the politics, towards everything which matters as well in the rest of Islam, changing structure of society. Everyone acquiesces to all of the munkar that are in those Muslim countries as well. So there's a lot of naivety in these discussions about these people who make these moves, but we don't need to get lost in that. We don't need to get lost in the bashing of one of the after the others. That will always continue. There will always be reasons for that. Ultimately, let's make it clear that if there's a person who cannot fulfill their obligations here, but they can elsewhere, then it's obligatory to go. That's it. Wallahu alam.
Can I push back on that
Yeah,
last point slightly?
yeah,
When you say fulfill your obligations, let's take the Salah for example. Now, I haven't lived abroad in a Muslim majority country, so this would be naivety from me. Let's say in the workplace in the UK, you're not necessarily always going to be able to pray on time, for example, or maybe not have the best quality prayer because you might not have space to pray in the office, just as an example. But
yeah.
you're perhaps more likely to have that in a Muslim majority country because more of the workplaces is obviously accustomed to Salah and maybe it's built into the day, for example. Does that qualify in terms of that need? It doesn't.
It doesn't. Why? Because that's like saying to such a person, you would say, why don't you just change job? Why don't you start taking time off? Why don't you work, change shifts? Meaning that when you're talking legally, right? When you're talking like, so I'm taking emotions and politics and social kind of science out of it. We're just speaking from a fiqh point of view. From a fiqh point of view, to make something haram, because what we're doing here, Labib, think about it, is that we're basically saying to this person, it's haram for you to be where you are right now because you prayed your prayer late or you did X, Y, Z, and now the only thing that makes your state halal is to go abroad. Now, factually, me and you know that's not a correct answer. Factually, we know that this guy can go on a dole. Factually, we can say he can change career. Factually, we can say he can go to his employer and say, listen, this ain't working for me. Need to make a decision. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work one extra day of the week for you. In return, I just want you to give me 3 hours. So I'm going to give you 7 hours free every week. He goes, flipping, bite your hand off for that, son. He bites your hand off for it. That's it. And then you give him that, and nobody questions you for that extra. Nobody does that, you see? Nobody does that because they reduce their deen options and the way they understand their deen to a very binary understanding. This idea of hijrah or nothing kind of thing. And it's often the people who don't know their deen very well or in depth that make those decisions. I say this whilst again repeating that if there's genuinely people out there that cannot practice their deen like it should be practiced, and when I say should be practiced, I mean it's much more than just obligations. Because when we start to get into hypotheticals, I'll give you an example. Being a pilot in a Muslim country, being a doctor in a Muslim country suffers the exact same problems that it does in this country. The exact same. The fact that there might be a masjid inside the hospital that makes it easier to pray doesn't actually make it any easier to pray. If you're already very comfortable praying in your own office or in the broom cupboard, like I used to when I used to be working in the hospital back in the 90s, there was a cupboard that was my prayer cupboard, right? And it was used, and it was just I just knew the routine, I knew the whatever. Meaning that like I said before, I must have said it in lecture, people always think that grass is greener on the other side, only to get there and all they find is sand. And I am taking a big kick at the Gulf migrants. A lot of people who go to the Gulf countries who are thinking this is some kind of Islamic kind of paradise. In actual fact, it's just kind of comfortable living, easy life, less hours, buzzing motors, great sun, all the rest of it, good pay, no taxes, and masajid everywhere, very beautiful, very nice, oud everywhere, ACs everywhere. Bro, I've lived that life, bro. I know the score. And ultimately, the real big thing, Labib, that you should be focusing on in this argument, if you're making this argument like, to take it, push back, is children. That's the real area that scholars are going to struggle to justify. And even that, my point is that that's your fault. It's not the schooling fault. I don't blame a school for wanting to make a person or whatever. Like today, I was at sports day at the school, and and I don't attend that many of the kind of the school events, and all the parents were there and all that kind of stuff. It was a big gathering, obviously quite a thingy non-Muslim area. And these what was happening was you see all the teachers, they're also getting ready to have their own races, whatever. And when you see teachers in a very kind of outside of the classroom sense, and they're more humanized, start to see their flaws and their personal opinions more. And you just start to realize, and you're watching them from afar, because you don't normally see all the teachers interacting in a social gathering. And I was watching and I was observing, and I could see the kind of, the various kind of little things that they have, and you could see that some getting on better with one another, and you could see that some look a bit gay, some look a bit weird, some look a bit X, some look a bit Y. And then I was having a chat with a few of them, and you can just realize, bro, that in the most normal and safe environment, these people will take your kids to kufr quicker than you can say butuagu. So it's absolute madness. So nothing changes, bro. The threat is very, very real. But if the parents are not teaching their kid about deen and about telling those people where to go, and about subhanallah, I said something to this is a primary school, and you're going to be, when you all study Protect This House, you're going to realize that in Protect This House, one of the big issues that we cover is when the girls should wear hijab. And I spoke about this, I think, in class as well, in Hajj. And I'm not an advocate of hijab in primary school, right? I just find it a little bit difficult, and I say that unless it can be put on easily, right? Because there is, especially in the era of prevent, putting the hijab onto a school was absolute prevent warning was getting reported. And I had one of my kids reported, and myself reported to prevent 10 years ago or something, years ago, whatever. It was a hilarious thing. But anyway, and so there's always this kind of fear, and teachers are very sensitive to that and whatever. However, I've said that if it becomes easy, then it's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to do, to put it on a girl before it's obligatory upon her from a thing, because it's all about culture, and it's all about habit, it's all about regulating behavior, and there's more to it than just the obligations. There's more to it than just this is the legal age that you start something, right? And I can tell you that my kids, this is the same school that all my kids have gone to. So for the last 20 years, my children have been going to the same school, and I put Isa into the very beginning and all the way to the end, and I put Hiba, who's my youngest now, who's in year 5. And I can tell you right now that 20 years ago, when Dean was mental strong and everyone's on it, and it's hardcore behavior, there was not a single kid that had the hijab, and I never saw a single hijab in all of these times until I want to say maybe a year ago or something. A year ago. And my policy is that it's very difficult for a girl to start hijab, whether it's obligatory upon her or not. You've got to have an event, or you've got to have an extended gap, like the summer holidays. You do it from one year to the next, but you don't do it mid-year and stuff. Bro, I saw a young girl, and she was in the same year as Hiba. This was last year. And I said to myself, this is a year 4 girl. She's wearing hijab. And here's the thing. This little girl, obviously she's a tiny girl. She has absolutely no idea what was going on. But her parent was basic guy. Basically said, I don't care what happens, you're wearing a hijab. Right? It doesn't matter where that's coming from, but this is the way he did it. Right? She was like, all right, cool. And she's wearing hijab in the school. Not a care in the world, not a belief, not nothing. And Hiba was not wearing hijab. Hiba's got all the support in the world, all the madness, and so many people coming to the house all wearing hijab, blah, 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 blah. I thought to myself, Ras, this girl is wearing hijab. We've got an opportunity here, bro. So I go, Hiba, what do you think, man? What do you think that we start a little bit of moving? She's only year 4, as she was at the time. I said to her, are you ready to start wearing hijab and try to encourage some more of these people? And she goes, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, why not? So then she starts wearing her hijab. And today in the sports day, I look around and I see maybe about 10 tiny girls, year 4, year 5, year 3, year 6, wearing hijabs. I was like, and I hadn't seen the kids like that. And I was like, and I said to Hiba, when she got home today, I saw her in the race and all the stuff, whatever, whatnot. And I said to her today, I said, listen, there was someone who's actually in your race. She's wearing hijab, but I'm sure that is that girl in your class? She goes, yes, she's in my class. I go, but she goes, one, the hijab and the cap. So she's wearing hijab and a cap. And she goes, yeah. I go, never knew that there was a guy wearing a hijab. She goes, no, she didn't. She started this year not wearing hijab. And then she came up to me and she said to me that, what do you think? Is it a problem to wear hijab? Did you find it difficult? And it was like, nah, man, it's sick, man, no problems whatsoever. She started wearing hijab, but the most difficult thing, meaning that she was not wearing on a Tuesday, started wearing on a Wednesday. And I said to her, this is what happens, Yani, when, you know, people have an impact upon others. And the reason I've gone down this kind of line is that we are in control of the narrative. We keep making the schools the bogeymen and the teachers the bogeymen and the educational syllabus the bogeymen. No, bro. No. This is we land of kufr. They're going to teach their kufr, and we are the people of deen, and we're going to teach our deen. And the second that we are, yani, our mouths have been shut and our hands have been tied, and we are absolutely, yani, completely out of, you know, we don't have any other option left. That's, yani, when the game changes and we need to start, you know, drastic moves, and only Islamic schools are haram to go to that school, or we've got to leave the country, blah, blah, blah. It's our parenting, it's our filtering, as you'll see in Protect This House. It's our, you know, it's all of that, which is, I think, what we should focus on more than trying to think of where the best country is that we're going to go to should be. You know that, let me tell you when you know that the whole Hajj session has turned into that legendary session that happened in the Nusuk era when we just gave up and we just started chilling and the whole thing. You know when it's turned into that? When Arif joins. When Arif, yani, who's 17 hours behind, okay? 17 hours, they've woken up now and they're like, you know what? Let me join this yani thing. We've been going on so long that all the Brits have gone to sleep and they've been replaced only by Americans. Look at this list, yani. Moitri American, Arif, yani, might as well be, and Aisha American, and Tamir American. All Americans are basically in, and the rest are basically dying. Anyway, anyone wants to take the mic, feel welcome. I'm on. We're in that we're in that zone now where it doesn't matter now. Now it's just we're just chilling now. Mennonites. I don't know who wants to speak, who don't want to speak. I don't know whether.
Assalamu
What's that, Nabil?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
I'm alright, bro. What's going on?
Building on to Labib's point here, I think the advice I asked you for the other day about the whole Riyadh move, and the thing you said at that time was that make sure you have a backup. As long as you have a backup, no matter where you go, you have plenty of opportunities to practice your religion and be as close as you can. Or if you want to go look for other things, you'll find that as well. I think that was a very good advice and right for me as well. Alhamdulillah. But again, what you were discussing as well, what are your thoughts on homeschooling then, for the kids especially these days?
Homeschooling is the gold standard. Homeschooling is the gold standard. The problem is, though, is that it's a lot more difficult than people actually realize. And the problem with me is that I talk too much for my own good. You know, as I said to you guys before, the group, the team absolutely drive me, absolutely hate me for it, but I always give too much information. I got cussed yesterday again by Abid Sami, and hardcore, gave me a slap left, right, and center, like this. And he goes to me, I told you keep giving people too many options. Just tell him one thing and that's it. You know, he's the militant director, and I love that. He's the voice I need in my life because he keeps my mind focused. A lot of the times I'm getting cussed like that because I just give too much options. And the truth is that I should actually not speak so much.
But you can't help yourself.
But I can't help myself. And I keep overgoing, and someone told me someone came to me after one of the live sessions I did for Protect This House, and they said, "Yeah, you know what? I don't agree with what you did there." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "You said about." He goes, "Basically, you've scared all the people of homeschooling." I said, "No way, man." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I know that's not your intention because that's what you've done." He goes, "By you saying that it's really tough, people won't do it." I go, "But I'm not going to lie to people. I'm just not that guy." He goes, "That's fine, but that's your experience." I go, no, that's not my experience. That's the majority experience. I go, look at the people. I remember reading an article on homeschooling. Do you know what the number one, this is a quiz question, guys. Okay. Everyone in the chat. All right. Ready? instead of you having all your bloody side conversations. Swear to God, man. You guys all know no side conversations, yeah, anyway, anything. Only conversations on what we're talking about. Bunch of packies, man.
Everyone's paying attention to you, Shay. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, you're not paying attention to me. Everyone's talking about bloody Malaysia and Oman, and we're moving there, and you're bloody flipping away. You're going your holidays funny, and oh, what did you eat at that place? And how's the coffee there? Oh, yeah, that's great, blah, blah. What the fish? Anyway.
I thought
it's
you were
okay.
talking about the G'day boys
Oh,
in Canada, weren't you?
I'm only joking, man. We're chilling here, man. You know how I am, man. I love this behavior. So, Jazakumullah khair, Sadia. Here's the question. Everyone get ready. Okay? Put down the 2 professions that are dominant in the homeschooling field from parents wise. What are they?
Housewives.
Come on, bro, housewives.
I said that.
So, subhanAllah, only one person got it right. Only one person got it right. So if you look, there's only one person that got a unique combination. The stats show that the majority of people that do, parents that do homeschooling, are doctors and lawyers. What are the characteristics of doctors and lawyers? A, they have the most funds. B, they are the most highly educated. Right? They're the most sharpest, the most intelligent, the most able. This is not something I'm making up. This is clearly. Aziz, did you read that in the stats? I don't think you made that up. I'm sure that you've actually seen that, right? Because I looked into this, obviously. And you would have thought teachers, and it makes sense, but it's not. It's the people who have got the biggest financial means, because one parent has to completely give up their role, again, in any kind of income generating sense. And if you really want to do it properly,
can I say something, Jake? You know, in
yeah,
Leicester, there's a large community of sisters who are actually homeschooling their children, and most of them are alimas and the housewives, but they're doing like part-time jobs themselves. And one thing I've heard about the Leicester community is that they help each other out. There's like a parent who actually is a sports teacher, so she takes some of the kids and do sports. One of them is a science teacher, helps and does science. One does English. But the community in Leicester is like phenomenally grown to do homeschooling. And my area as well, I know a few sisters, my friends, none of them are teacher doctors, and they actually homeschool their children.
So I want you to stay online, Sobi, because what you said is very important, because there was actually someone who said exactly that. They come up to me and they said, you shouldn't be saying that. You don't stop. They said to me, don't say to people that it's so difficult, because you put people off and you tell them it's got to be doctors and lawyers and it's very expensive, and you haven't heard of homeschooling networks. And we've got a homeschooling network here, and we've got homeschooling network. And you just given another example of the Leicester one, where they're not all very rich, and they're doing it, working together. And that's the problem right there, that when a person makes a statement like that, is being understood to be like all, applying to everyone and that's the only way. There are obviously exceptions to the rule. Where there are these kind of little networks, they are incredibly effective. They work together to find one of the parents who will take all the kids out on the PE kind of. They do all that kind of madness, and they find a speciality, and then whatever. So I'm not saying that it's impossible to do. Like I said, my start off point was it's the gold standard, but people must not underestimate the challenge that is there. The length of time that it takes, the commitment that it takes. And frankly, I will push back at the more ethnic communities that are doing it in their kind of little kind of Muslim areas, which is not a realistic model for the majority of Muslims that are wanting to homeschool, because those folks are normally living not in such a community. But anyway, let's assume that they've got resources that they can make that. The biggest issue is that the father seems to relinquish any responsibility in this role. Now, in those areas where it works, like the one you're describing, which would indicate a lot more females involved and very few husbands, right?
Yeah.
And I want to say that then starts to lead to the same problem that we've got then in going to school. My biggest problem with school is not the school, right? My biggest problem with school is that the parents then just don't care about it because they're dealing with it. They're dealing with it. The teachers are dealing with it. Everyone else is dealing with it. So why am I worried about it? So if we're now doing homeschooling and it's now just, well, she's dealing with it, I don't need to get involved. You've got not the same level problem, of course, because you're not in the kufr and whatever, but we've got still the same issue, meaning that you're not producing the quality result, which is the reason why you went down the homeschooling path in the first place. So all I'm saying is, to answer your question, to take your account, to take your report into account, and to answer Nabil's question, whoever can do homeschooling should absolutely homeschool their children. It is the gold standard. But make sure that you set up the system first. Make sure you don't jump in, pull out a kid, and then realize that now you can't keep it up and then put the kid back in again. There's a bit of damage that occurs that way. Yeah, and you get the research done. Make sure you got the right syllabi. Make sure you got a support structure that's going to work and be sustainable. Make sure that everyone's going to be involved, that it doesn't just fall on the head of the mother. I just want to say that for a mother to be the teacher and the wife and the caregiver and the home thingy, that's 5 full-time jobs.
Yep.
And for the husband then to then 10, 15 years later when they divorce, because there's no love and because the woman is completely burnt out, whatever, and there's been no relationship building at that same time because the kids took every single second out of them. Again, I do see a darker side to life than what you guys are exposed to. I unfortunately have to get involved in, these kind of scenarios when between man and wife, and trying to identify where it went wrong and what the weak points are, and let's make sure we avoid this. That the kids cannot become, even though there's got to be this focus, they cannot become your entire life. They are not more important than your entire life. They're not. And so it's got to be sustainable. It's got to be workable. There's got to be a clear focus of both parents involved, not just one. But I appreciate your point because, if people didn't push back, then there wouldn't actually be people that would even consider it. I know that. I believe that. You are the proof of that, actually.
Also, further note, the online community for homeschooling, there's actually homeschooling schools, Islamic ones have been set up, primary, secondary, and they actually teach you the subjects all online, comfort of your own home, by Muslim.
My first daughter, beg your pardon, she went to, bloody hell, what was it called before King's High? Inter High. Okay. Inter High is, I want to say, the UK's and maybe Europe's, but certainly the UK's biggest online school, the best one, highest ratings, funding, blah blah. It's called King's High now, I think. It was the worst school I have ever seen. Absolute truck. So I just want to say that I have a very low opinion of online schools, whether Islamic or non-Islamic. Definitely case-by-case basis. If you get a good Islamic school, I would love to be able to see how good it actually is, because generally I would be taking in-person teaching or a local school 9 times out of 10 over an online school.
So, Sheikh, what if Assalamu alaikum. So, what if there is an Islamic school nearby? Should we still prioritize homeschooling, or?
Yes. I'm also not very effusive about Islamic schools. America a bit better than the UK. Actually, America a lot better than the UK. In the UK, is they pay peanuts and they get monkeys. The teachers, I know who the teachers are. They're all Islamic studies graduates. They're Darul Uloom graduates, alims, whatever they call them, blah blah. people who come back from university, they don't know a jot about teaching. Like me, I couldn't teach a kid anything. I'm the worst with kids in human history. I just do not have the patience or the ability to speak to kids whatsoever. Being a scholar or Islamically educated or the rest of it, which is most of the people who are in Islamic schools, doesn't make you better at teaching. In America, they pay more. In America, they are more discriminate in that they will look for professionals, etc., etc. UK is now changing a little bit, okay? However, so I'm not like head over heels with Islamic schools either. But when they get it right, then fantastic. Why not? Of course, 100%. For me, it's not about the genre. I don't think we should read too much into the genre of private schools, the genre of Islamic schools, or the genre of homeschooling. I believe that it's about the results. I believe that it's about the environment. I believe that, like, I'll give you an example about Manchester. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind, if you were to compare public school, free school, private school, fee-paying Islamic school, boarding school, and homeschooling, the 6, 7, 8 different kind of models that there are, in Manchester, the one that every practicing Muslim knows that is going to be the best environment for their kids is actually a private school for boys called Manchester Grammar School. Its Islamic scene is out of this flipping world. The Islamic society gets away with everything that it wants because of the amount of donors that pay into that school. As a secular school full of non-Muslims, obviously, its results are off the charts. By the way, you've got to be on Shazad type money to be able to send your kid there. It's like 20, 30 grand a year or something stupid. Yeah. And so most people cannot get their kids into that school. But if I had the choice, I had the money, my kids will all be going to Manchester Grammar School. 100%. So my point being that, would I say the same for other grammar schools elsewhere? My brother went to a grammar school. I went to a normal school. No, I don't think that I would ever praise a genre. I always speak about if you've got the best Islamic school, or you've got a great Islamic school, or you have the ability to do homeschooling, then you do it. What works and what works well should be the focus, not the genre. Not the genre. We've got to get out of this lazy kind of, only this or only that. Wallahu alam.
Should I get in one question? So about Al-Aqsa trip, it's probably too early, but were you thinking of 2025 Ramadan?
Yes, I'm hoping for 2025 Ramadan. Am I super confident? I'm not super confident, but I do believe that it is. Inshallah, it's going to happen. I hope it's going to happen. But yeah, mid-Ramadan 2025.
Okay, we'll pray hard for that, inshallah.
Barakallahu feek.
What about the Are you going to do it summer? You mentioned that you as well.
Did you say Pakistan? Did you say?
I thought you said in the chat, once.
Bro, that's going to be highly, highly thingy. Don't let that out, man. That's going to be a madness one day. Yeah, but that is true. It's just currently going through its fine tuning, the locations and what's going to work. How would the schedule be? How would we thingy? But yeah, inshallah, the summer is Pakistan.
Don't do the summer though, especially the northern areas.
Especially the northern areas, we're going to do, bro. How about that? Everything that you are saying don't do, we're definitely doing that.
You do know there's single road traffic, right? And
bro, 100%. Yani, what other time can people get off to go to Pakistan? Tell me that.
Over.
Nah, man.
Are you going to Karachi?
No. The streets. Listen, the streets of Karachi, they just got rid of Danish. They don't want him back here.
He's not here, so I thought I'd represent.
We should record this part. Just send it to Danish in the streets. He was born on the streets. We'll go to Karachi just to find the street and for the street to say, I don't know who Danish is. With the flipping streets of Karachi, my foot.
Sheikh, this Danish is also from Karachi.
Bro, listen.
Streets of Karachi, you can't beat streets of Karachi, man. He
is as much from the streets of Karachi as I'm from the streets of Timbuktu, bro. Get out of it, bro. Come on.
But you're Danish biryani.
Bro.
Sheikh, is that Pakistan trip open to everyone? It's not just like a boys' trip, is it?
Ras, man. Come on, bro. You hating, man. One retreat one retreat and 66 bloody events that I've done where the women are the majority of every single bloody one.
No, no,
Every
it's,
hey,
no, I don't
hey,
mean it that way.
hey,
I don't mean it that way.
hey, right. Maghrib classes, Ilm nights, Ilm summit, conference, wait a minute, Aqsa, 3 cities, Hajj, Umrah, every single one of them.
Okay,
Women,
I don't want to get my hopes up high. I've only ever been to
women
Pakistan
focused.
once.
One second. By the way, Pakistan, that in 2019 that we did, Turkey,
Yeah.
Uzbekistan, China, what else? I don't know. Every single one of them dominated by women. Every single one of them super focused on looking after the women. I do one little retreat on September 6th for the mandem, and now it's like, so is this Pakistan one gonna be another lads?
Cancelled for not being inclusive.
Cancelled for not being inclusive. This is the insult. No, Saadi, it's going to be for women. Yeah, definitely.
And do you have any dates for the Bosnia trip as well?
No, bro. You want an honest, no truth? Yeah, I'm so desperately trying to get out of that whole behavior. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. They're really wanting me to focus on June next year, but I don't know. I don't know. At the moment, no rather than yes.
Okay.
I'm really struggling through that whole first part of the year with the amount of time that I've taken off and Hajj again as well. So that whole 9 months of the thingy, I don't know how much time I can actually get off. But anyway.
Inshallah.
So, the Alexa trip, it's not going to be a 3-city one. It's just Alexa.
Yeah, it would just be Al-Aqsa, even though Dar es Salaam are desperate for me to make it a 3-city one. They're desperate. And so the problem with the 3 cities, the problem with in that period of time is that the only way that I can realistically see it becoming a 3 cities one is if we go in the Ramadan time, then it would have to be Medina, Mecca, and then Jerusalem. And I really don't like that. The real 3 cities is Jerusalem, Medina, Mecca. That's the real essence 3 cities. Even though I've done it the other way around before, Medina, Mecca, and Jerusalem. But the real maza and the one that creates the group vibe is always putting Aqsa first, 100%. So I'll just say that. The second problem, which is why I don't want to do it, is because doing it then at Easter will make this so expensive. The costs that they came back with, my eyes started watering and thinking about it. I just like, it's crazy just what kind of liberties people are taking in terms of flight prices and accommodation and peak seasons. So anyway, as it stands right now, it's just Aqsa. Just Aqsa.
Jazakallah khair.
Barakallahu feek. Come on, guys. Why you been such a hater, man?
The recording is going to be like 6 hours long.
Bro, nobody makes anyone sit down anything. As soon as they see us chilling like this and whatever, you know what? The only thing I didn't do is to bring out my food and drink. That's what I should have brought out. Although I do have my, because they didn't like my thingies last time. My, what's it called? My peanut butter. They didn't like the peanut butter, so I've now swapped it for olives.
You know what you should do? Take the peanut butter, remake the Indomie, and let us know how.
Indomie, inshallah. I might do the. Just remind me, because I you know something? I took the packet to to Turkey, and I was gonna say to myself, I'm gonna make it properly whilst I'm there, but I didn't get time. So just remind me, when I boil it, I'm willing to give you a chance, bro. I'm not a hater like you. That's the difference between.
Make it like pasta. Boil it, strain it, get rid of the water.
Slandering me day and night, and there's me, and it always giving me the benefit of the doubt, saying that, you know what, maybe she's right. I'm not gonna hate. I'm gonna try it. So I boil it, I drain it.
You drain the water, and you add. Basically, what I do is I add the seasoning to the plate. That's what you're supposed to do. Add all the seasonings to the plate, except for the fried onions. There's a little packet of fried onions in there. Keep that for the end. You put the sauces and the powders and everything, mix it all together on your plate. Boil the noodles, drain the water, and then put the cooked noodles onto your plate with all the seasonings, mix it all up, and at the very end, add the fried onion.
1 second. If you drain all the water, then the noodle is not very, whatever, kind of wet, which means that the noodles at the bottom are going to take the vast majority of that, however much you mix it.
No. You mix it up for like 30 seconds and it's all distributed properly.
All right. I'm going to give you a chance, bro. And then I
She's right.
egg in there.
She's right. And I even tried this peanut butter business.
What did you think?
It was okay. It was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do I put the peanut butter?
Great.
What stage is the peanut butter going? What stage is the peanut butter going in?
When I add peanut butter, I add it to the seasoning in the empty plate with just the seasonings in it. Right? Stir it in.
And what about the egg?
The egg, I don't add egg if I'm having it with peanut butter. The egg, for me, it's either fried egg on top or peanut butter mixed into the seasoning, either or.
All right, I'm going to give it a go, bro. I'm down for this behavior, bro. I'm on a diet, right? It's diet food, yeah? Noodles?
Definitely not.
What? That packet's got calories?
It's
got like 400 plus. It's crazy.
So much, so much, and then you add peanut butter to it.
It's so bad.
It's an explosion of calories.
Basically, don't eat all day, and then just have the Indomie.
No, hold on. A meal is okay to be about 500-600 calories, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. That's why I stopped eating it. Like I had to.
But it's not filling. Look, if you have a meal of 600 calories and you have a healthy meal, it should fill you up for quite some time. This one, you'll be hungry like an hour after.
So that's the problem. And then we'll suck the diet off and thingy, and we'll
mango juice. Have it with the mango juice as well.
Oh, shut up, you and your mango juice.
It's so good, so good.
Shut up, man. How do we mute you? Right? Who was taking the mic? Aisha, man, you took the mic and you went and then you disappeared.
Assalamualaikum, Sheikh. How are you?
How you doing?
And everyone, the whole team. Alhamdulillah, I'm fine, Sheikh. How are you?
How's Zishan, man? Where's my guy?
Zishan is at work. He was the most of the time he was on, but he had to go just recently for a meeting. But Alhamdulillah, I'm getting really excited for Pakistan trip, my home country. Alhamdulillah. I've been wanted to go to the northern areas with the kids, was waiting for appropriate ages for them to be able to, enjoy it. But Alhamdulillah, now hearing it from you that you guys are planning it, just wanted to know, we will get to know this first, right? As well. Like rest of the
get to know the what?
About the trip, like the group, the Hajj group, like we'll find out first before you.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Definitely. Especially if you are on the LP channel, right? The LP channel is the one. Yeah, but yes, definitely.
And you said
what else?
Next year, right?
Yeah, next year. But yeah, in fact, I can even give you a rough kind of date. A rough date.
Great. Yeah.
A rough date will be probably similar to the UK kind, because the majority of people will come from the UK. And so the date will probably be in the region of July 27, 28, the week after, in that region. That is the kind of approximate time.
Okay. And approximately how long, like the trip?
That is being worked on.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but probably in a region of about a week, or maybe a day less, maybe a day more, something like that.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Well, it was great to hear you after longer last. Yeah, Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. It was amazing.
Alhamdulillah. Right. Who else is joining our party? They call these kind of calls is this called streaming? Twitching?
Pretty much like having a stream, yeah.
No, there's a genre of this kind of stuff. People just kind of call in. Or is that called Instagram Live? Is that why that's called?
Any kind of streaming, Instagram, Twitch, whatever.
No, where people are just chatting and just kind of, coming in and talking.
Instagram only allows one at a time, I think, whereas this is more like, yeah.
I think the term is farelog.
What are you hating for, man? What are you hating for, bro? Come on, man.
Would we be allowed kids on these trips, Aqsa, and probably difficult for Aqsa, but for Pakistan though?
Oh, no, Aqsa definitely we take kids, yeah.
Yeah?
Pakistan,
Okay.
yeah, Pakistan will definitely have kids, yeah.
That's good.
Aqsa will be good. Pakistan will definitely have kids, yeah, 100%. Inshallah.
Sheikh, are we gonna have another question answer session in the
What? Another one? To be honest, I don't mind. The reason I don't mind is because I don't mind a chill. I like a chill, right? Every couple of months, yeah, just to chill and catch up and salam dua. I love that behavior, bro. So we can do it. So when you start doing question and answer, making it formal, that my heart starts going dug, 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 dug. All right. Okay, well, I don't think anyone's jumping off their chair to say anything else. They want us to now go and eat and pray and all that kind of behavior. Oh, sugar, it is late though. Ras. Okay. Anyway, I've got a tough, interesting day ahead today. I've got to try to navigate a few things. The Bilal Muhammad's in town and he wants to do. Bilal Muhammad is the UFC challenger for the thingamajig, and he wants to do an event, and I got to work out, how to navigate that because that's sensitive behavior. But so I'm gonna have to do that tomorrow, and also this place that who's been to the Grumpy Baker? Anybody here been to Grumpy Baker? The cheesecake place, because I want to try and target that. I've been starving myself for the last 10 days so that I can.
I've been to it. I think it's okay.
Is it? Some other people saying it's the best cheesecake they've ever had.
No. Unless he treats you like a celebrity, it's okay. It's okay. It's just like, yeah.
So what would he do? What 7 out of 10? You take 7 out of 10?
Nah, not for like something that you think is
okay. It's 5 out of 10. 7 out of 10 is great.
You know what it is, Sheikh? The cheesecake is just a sauce on top. It's basically covered in sauce.
That's what I feared. That's what I feared. I'm talking about underneath. How good is that behavior, bro?
No, it's frozen. It's like baked and frozen. It's not like it's not gourmet. It's not like high quality. It's all right. The sauce.
It's not like that San Sebastian or whatever they call.
It's not. It's not as good as the one in Turkey. You know, in the whatever it's called in Turkey. I've had that one. That one's better. The one in Turkey is better.
Right. Okay. But listen, I just want to ask you this question about this. Does he treat the celebrity guy? That's what I heard, that he looks after all the celebrities. Does he do something different for those boys?
Yeah, he's got I've seen all these boxers and all these famous people that we have in it. They be loving it. And
that's the whole point. And he wants to hook me up. And I said, I'm not being hooked about you. You skanked me. I go, me and my missus came to this place and the bloody place was closed, bro. It opens at 5 o'clock.
Sheikh, one question. Are you, you said Bilal Muhammad. Are you allowed to watch UFC? Or is it
bro, this is why I said that if I go to this place, the guy wants me to go there and his team want me to go and give him an Iman boost and this and that, whatever. I go, I don't know about that, bro, because you know what I mean? Association, and you start to promote. I don't think it's haram. No,
Fatwa's been shared already, man. Fatwa's been shared already.
I don't think it's haram to watch UFC, no. But I don't feel comfortable promoting the sport.
Okay, I'm going to watch it. Let's see.
Oh, I thought you said I'm going to go. I was going to give you beats, bro.
No, I'm going to watch it.
How much is the ticket? Now, do your best,
just over 400 quid.
You flipping stupid dumb packy. 400 quid to watch that flipping bakwas, bro.
Sheikh, the Hajj was cheap this year. I saved some money in it.
Bro, that's so stupid. And bro, you're in the flipping breaches as well, bro. I guarantee you it. You're nowhere near anything, bro. You're 17,000 rows back as well. You're paying 400 quid.
Yeah, it's one of them. So once in a lifetime, and it's coming to Manchester. Might as well enjoy it.
Yeah, I can't believe you're going, man. And did you hear the news today?
What?
They moved Mukhayev and Manal Cap to the early prelims.
Have they? No, it's the main prelim, isn't it? That's the main fight.
That's the reason why I just told you, isn't it? You see, I'm going to teach you that what you don't know, brother.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I was so looking forward to that. We was gonna go to the prelims.
Everybody's looking forward to that, and I've been thinking about why they did that, because obviously the UFC don't like Makhayev, and they, he's not a very exciting fighter, and he cussed the UFC, and Dana White, the dog that he is, yeah. So, people were saying that he punished him by putting him to early prelims. I don't think that's the answer. I think that the reason that they put him to the early prelims is because they know that a lot of people in Manchester are paying for just that fight, or not just that fight, but really want to see that fight. So they're trying to make them come earlier. Think about that, bro. You're being manipulated, bro. You dumb packy. I can't believe you paid 400 quid. You are the full manipulated. Welcome to the crowd of the manipulated, bro.
When Bilal Muhammad becomes the champion, inshallah, Sheikh.
Bro, honestly, here's the real reason I have a problem going tomorrow to the thingy. That's why I'm gonna go to the guy and give him a salam dua and thing, and I know that he's gonna get battered, bro.
But he's still going. That's the point.
That's the worst part. Yeah, and I'm going up to him and I'm going to say salam dua, this, that, whatever. I hope you do well, brother. Blah, blah, blah. And the thing is that I know that he's going to get battered. He's going to get battered. It's going to be full bestie on Sunday night, bro, or morning, whatever it is. And I'm like, how can I shake the guy's hand and be honest and say, brother, you're going to do it, inshallah, and I know you're getting battered.
Sheikh, whoever you've supported so far, they've lost. So if you're not supporting this guy, he may actually have a chance to win.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I've got to start supporting Leon then. Khalas. I'm going to start supporting Leon. Inshallah, then Bilal will win. Some izzat brought back to the Palestinians and the people and everyone.
Inshallah.
Sheikh, I've just remembered a funny story from Maulana Tariq Jamil. Allow me just 30 seconds. So there's a famous Bollywood actor called Amir Khan.
Oh yeah, I know him. I know him. Old now.
Yeah. So he took his mother on Hajj, and there he met Maulana Tariq Jamil.
Right.
And Maulana was full on dawah. He spent days with him, trying to convert him, spent hours with him, became good friends. And then Maulana continued doing dawah to him when he came back to Pakistan. Next thing he knows, he receives a call from Amir Khan to Maulana saying, Maulana, I've just released a film. Can you please pray it becomes the biggest hit in the history of Indian cinema? And Maulana was saying, I didn't know how to praise him. All I just said was all the hard work is always rewarded. I can imagine something like that happening to you, man, tomorrow.
You know what it is? I'm writing that down, bro. Hard work is always rewarded. What a sick line. See, these guys, I'll tell you a story, a counter story, because that's a great line. I'm just going to say to him, hard work is always, and the guy works hard. Custom, I'll say that much. He works hard. Bilal Muhammad is, mashallah. That's what I'm going to say. That's how I'm going to get out of it. I went to see Maulana Tariq Jamil when he was just starting to become popular. And the year was 1990 something. And then I met him again, like about 25 years later, when we did a event together, and my uncle was one organizing it. And that was in Manchester. But anyway, that's not a very exciting story. So there was something I was going to say. Yeah, guys, listen to me. Question. All of the olive experts, olive fans. So these are olives, and there's no oil because I took the oil. I took them out of the oil or whatever it is that they come in. And I have got it in this jar, and I'm eating a couple here and there. And is it being at room temperature a problem? I think because I don't like the taste of it when it's cold. I like the taste of it when it's and these are very oily ones. They're very nice. Yeah, they're like a high quality one that I picked up. So can I keep these at room temperature, like for days and weeks? What's the score with the olive people? It's so late now that we even lost all the bloody Americans, bro.
UK folks are up as well. You can't keep it days and weeks outside the fridge.
What the fish do you, as a Paki, know about olives? Go and sit right down.
I've got an olive tree and I love olives.
I've got 2 olive trees! So what? I can tell you right now, Sobi, as I sit here and Allah's my witness, that you are the last person that I'm going to ask about olives.
Excuse me. Why is that? Oh my God.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Give me, what do you know about olives?
What do you know? Oh my God. I know about olives, okay? I
If
enjoy
I
my
was,
olives.
if I was
I've
asking
tried
about atta, if I was asking about atta, if I was asking about yani,
atta. What's
yeah,
atta got to do with olives?
if I was asking about semia, if I was asking about whatever, right? I
You
say
saying
yeah.
No, Samia atta Paki stuff. Excuse me, what are you trying to say? I don't know anything about olives.
I'm saying that you're a bigger Paki than Pakistan itself. How about that?
I'm not. I'm half Guji.
No,
I learned my cooking from Gujis.
no. There's no way.
Sheikh, I have my mom here. She has an answer for you.
Yes.
So you said if it's what did you say?
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah.
I think may Allah forgive you. Sorry, Auntie. Yes, go ahead.
If it depends on how they were initially preserved. If they were preserved with salt from the beginning, they can be kept outside the fridge. Yes.
For how long?
For as long as you want, as long as nothing, they're not exposed to any like bacteria or anything like that. Like nothing rotten, nothing. Yes.
But how will I know whether they were exposed to salt or not?
Well,
will they be saltier? Will the taste be saltier? That's best class.
Typically, the ones that have been preserved with salt, they lose water, so they shrink. You look at them, and they're not like.
Yes. These are those. These are they're like they're
Moroccan ones, like the Moroccan ones.
Can you see this?
Yes, but these are not black though. These are purplish.
Yes, they're the purplish ones. They're small and shriveled, and they're very soft. They're very soft.
Yes. I can tell salt has been used in their preservation, but I'm not sure if it's only salt or something else too, because they're not very. They're
not super wrinkly.
Yeah, they're not super wrinkly.
But you still have some of the.
They still have a lot of water in them.
Anyway, I'm still alive. It's been here for a week, and I've been eating yani one or two every.
Trial and error is the best way.
You can add olive oil to them, and you can have them for as long as you want.
No, but then that's too much, yani. Then it's too oily. Already, subhanAllah, it's been without oil, and it's still oily. Even.
He doesn't want too much oil.
Oh, he doesn't want oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Shukran.
Barakallahu feekum. With that, you're dead.
You bought it in a can, didn't you?
No. Oh, are you kidding me? Bro, don't ask questions you don't answer to. Right, let's go. Bismillah. I went up to a guy in the Turkish market. He had a massive bag, and it was full of oil in there and full of that, and he had about 25 different thingies. Bro, we did a video, man.
I saw the video. I saw the video, and I was waiting for the advice, and you're like, I have no idea.
That's it, exactly. I have no idea what the difference is, but exactly that video. So the guy had 15, 20, so I tasted every single one, and this one tasted nicest. And so then I gave him, I said, put it into a plastic bag. So the guy made the plastic bag, obviously brought it through customs. Only time in my life, customs stopped me, whatever, whatnot. And alhamdulillah, didn't say anything. And brought it home and took it out of the oil bag. And I put it into this because there's so much oil. And they're so nice. They're not like hard olives. You know what I mean by hard olives?
Yeah. Keep eating. It will be fine. Keep eating, man. Keep eating.
Bro, like they ever stopped me before, man. Come on, you know what I mean?
Can I ask you a
yes.
question? Do you own SL1210s, or did you ever?
I'll tell you something interesting. I never ever mixed on 12-inch at all on vinyl. I used I was the first generation of using a CD mixer.
Oh wow.
Yeah. The very, very first generation, the very first year it got released, that's what I bought. And I just used to use CDs. And obviously we heard about it coming out and whatever, we used to hold back because we always doubted whether they would release the white labels on the CD. And so we kind of held back, and then they're basically the companies. They said, all right, we're going to start releasing them on CDs now to cater for the new age kind of environment. That was obviously early. I was like 91 or something, 90 or something, and so that's that. Yeah.
Nice.
Everyone else is thinking, what the fish is going on here? So just mute yourself, Saleh. Just
Done.
mute yourself, bro.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Sorry, just a real quick question. I feel like I didn't want to come at any point because I didn't want to ruin the vibe you guys are having. It seemed nice. But firstly, on the olive thing, I say next time you go to the supermarket, just see the closest thing and see where they store it in the supermarket. And if it's in the fridge, keep it in the fridge. If it's out in the shelves, just keep it on the shelves. My two questions were, one was, is it too late to give feedback?
Am I still here? Yeah, you can see me, Ahmed. Yeah,
I can still see you. Yeah, I was saying, is it too late to give feedback?
No. Did you not fill in the form?
I haven't filled. I can't lie. I haven't filled in nothing. I've not done the review. I've not done the.
That's what you mean, yeah. Well, no, what you mean is it too late to give feedback? You're meaning that I've got the form, I haven't filled it in. Can I fill it in and send it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That goes to everybody. The reason I had a deadline on it is because I needed to make some time-sensitive decisions on a few things, and I wanted to hear your opinions on some stuff. But then after that, I want everybody to take as long as they want, and I want the more feedback I get is the more data in my heart and mind to see what people are saying. So 100%, yeah, definitely fill it in, no problem at all.
Sure. My next question is a bit random, but I'm turning 30 this year, and so I'm getting a bit old, and I've been seeing dermatologists on social media talk about sunscreen, and I've never really worn sunscreen in my life, like even when I go on holiday. But I remember you said that you shouldn't be doing wudu if you have your sunscreen on because the wudu doesn't touch your skin. And I think you're a pharmacist, isn't it? So I was just wondering, like, how much do you, like, what do you need to do to clean off sunscreen so that your wudu's like actually taking place, like the water's actually touching your skin?
So the problem is when the sunscreen is water resistant. If it's not water resistant, then most sunscreen with even a small amount of water will start to wash away. Do you get what I'm saying? And so then it's not so much of a problem. So if we understand that the problem is about water actually penetrating the skin, then it doesn't matter if there's sunscreen on there as long as it's not blocking the water. The problem is that when it's the water resistant type of sunscreen, because they're two different things. And if it's the water resistant sunscreen one, then it doesn't allow the water to even stay for 1 second on your skin. It's just like falling straight off. And then the whole thing needs to be removed. So that's the basic ruling.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, obviously sensitivity to sun is an important point to be aware of. There is a big rise in skin cancer, and people don't take it as serious as they are. But at the same time, I do think that the Pakistani take it a bit too seriously. But I think we have some natural protection. I'm always having an argument with my dermatologist friend who's like hardcore cancer specialist and all about sunscreen. I'm saying no. But anyway. Good to see you.
The question as well, if that's okay.
Only if you tell me what the fuck are you doing awake, bro? Where Lafange, you're a busy woman, bro. What are you doing awake?
When my husband's on night shift, then it's my time to chill and the kids are asleep listening to the seminar.
What an answer. Mashallah. What's going on, Rafia? Speak to me.
I think I just wanted to add on to Marjabeen's question, and sort of the homeschooling discussion is a good example of that. So do you have any tips on how not to allow yourself to be affected or care so much about other people's expectations and opinions of you, as long as you know that you're making the right decision for your family in terms of deen and your own circumstances? So, for example, with homeschooling, I found that, I think me and my husband are both from quite practicing family backgrounds. Sometimes there can be a lot of pressure, from within the family as well, to homeschool. But sometimes if you don't have the ability or circumstances, how do you make the right decision for yourself without being overwhelmed with the pressure of other people's expectations, especially when they're close family members or elders? And homeschooling, I'm just using as an example, but obviously these things happen, with all sorts of areas. So, it's easy to say, take it in one ear out the other, but how do you do you have any tips on practically how can we do that and not allow these things to bother us?
I mean, if you're asking like a deeper level question about, how to just to make it kind of more, because obviously the answer is exactly what you said. As a practicing Muslim and as a person that, I don't know the answer to your question. All I can tell you is how I would deal with it. Okay, so let me just make that clear. This is not an Islamic answer. This is me, how I would deal with this, because I also come from what you're describing. Everyone around me is practicing and whatever, whatnot. So let me put myself in your shoes and also my own shoes where I faced it. The first thing is that whether for good or bad, I have never ever historically, and even now even more so, ever ignored anyone saying anything to me. Never. If I hate them, if I like them, if they're ignorant, if they are below me, if they're younger than me or whatever, I have always in my life for the last, before I was practicing, before I was an adult, I have benefited so much from feedback and developing my own filter. Because when you're listening to people so much, like I do, right? I take everyone's statements very seriously. That doesn't mean I listen. It doesn't mean I follow them, but I always listen to them. And there's a few reasons why I do that. Because the more that you listen means the more you're exposed to, means the more you got to question yourself, which means the more you're forced to make a stronger decision as opposed to a weak decision, which means that the basis for I hope that this is recorded and written down, because I know that I won't be able to repeat it, but this is so important what I'm saying, which means the more robust decision-making process, which means that your process itself in assessing information and assessing bias and assessing recency bias and assessing cultural bias and assessing good angles, bad angles, and the rest of it becomes incredibly strong and robust, which means that you now develop a very, very good filter to expose yourself into all different types of scenarios and not need to worry, because you know that you can throw yourself into any scenario, in any subject, on any issue, and not be afraid, because you know that your filter has been developed in such a concentrated long period of time in so many different scenarios. It's been tested, tried and tested. It's like been forged, right, in steel, right, that you can now be filtering out the advice that you get. So what's so great about this, what's great about it is that you never disrespect the person who's speaking to you. You're not even showing it, even if you are, because people can tell when you're listening, but you're not going to take it on. Well, I will listen and I will take it on, but my filter will put it in the right place very, very quickly. Meaning that it will say, yeah, that's good, you got to implement that. Or it will say, no, you know what, 100% you're on the right path. You're on the right path. Ignore it. Chuck it in the bin. No need to disrespect the person who told you. But, so I guess what I want to say is that, first of all, I will always listen to these people and take it in. But second thing, but then connected to the first thing is that I'm very now confident in my process that I am making the right decision because I've dealt with that information in the right way, because of the process system I already have and because my filter is so strong. At least a second point. You've got to be a very high quality person yourself. So if you know that you're not qualified and you're being genuine with yourself, and you've got to be genuine with yourself in this anyway, but you've got to be honest and serious. People got to know what's above your pay grade or not. You've got to know your own limits. And if you know that you are the absolute dogs when it comes to this particular area, you know that you know everything about it, that you've studied it, that there's nobody that's going to be able to, have authority over you in the subject or whatever, because you know that you've put the time in, right? It's not difficult. If you study a subject, you're always feeling confident. And when you don't know something, you have to guess. That's when you don't know something. So you've got to be a person who actually knows the subject. You've got to be qualified, is what I'm saying. So if you look at the two generic factors, the way that I deal with people questioning or suggesting or asking or pushing me to another thing is, A, I have with lots of experience of listening to everybody that says something, developed a very good filter. So I'm not scared. Please tell me your opinion. I want to think about it. Please give me your evidences and references. I want to read it. Please do that. Shows them that you're serious. Shows them that you're invested in them, and you shows you that you got nothing to be afraid of because you've been through this many times before. Second, you are honest with yourself and know that you do know better than that other person. Why? Because you know that that person doesn't know as much about the subject as you do, and you need to be honest about yourself. And so that's what you do. And then after that, then it's the third one about, well, if I know that I'm right and I know more about it and I've got the right filter and I've taken out the biases and I know why they said what they said and I know that I'm not that person, I've got a different scenario. And so now you just activate the third one. The third button is the boring, simple one, which is that it doesn't matter now after that. The consequences doesn't matter. You go back and you just do it, and you go back and you say whatever needs to be said to appease people. And different people want to hear different things. Some won't care. Some have forgot that they gave you advice in the first place. Others are going to feel very, very bad about it. Others are going to feel very, very bad about it. And so you need to then, like a father, for example, takes it very, very seriously. Fathers, they get very, very affected if you didn't seek their permission. But like I say in Protect This House, they don't care about the details. They just care about the authority. So if a father's giving you advice and you're going against your father's advice, I would be saying, you know what, that's a good point. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to, and then you don't do it exactly like we want. Or, which I prefer, which is what I prefer, I want you to listen carefully to this, is to preempt. You preempt the problem. So you preempt the problem by knowing that this is a situation which is coming up. There's a situation which is coming up where I'm going to make a decision and the others are going to tell me something different. It's going to cause a little bit of, whatever, like a decision on homeschooling, for example. So what I'm going to do is to preempt this by minimizing the fallout, by identifying the people who are going to get most upset by it. And as I said to you before, the number one people in my experience are parents and fathers. Okay. And so this is what you do. You go up to the father and say, listen, man, that you're my guy. You're the one I come to and your advice is the absolute best. And I want to send so-and-so to school and this and that, whatever. And there's a lot of different things happening right now. And I'm doing a lot of research on all the different subjects. And there's a lot of pros and cons in all of the options. What's your take on it? And I tell you one thing right now. What does not all the time, but a lot of the time, your dad is a guy who wants to be respected. After that, if he's got any common sense, he'll know that I don't know the details. I don't know whatever. But what he wants to know is that you're not stupid. He wants to know that you're not, treating it lightly. He wants to know that he's an authority. So you've given him that. You've shown him the confidence. You've shown him that you said all the right words. And then he might say a few words and in my experience, most of the time, when you do what I just said with any figure, but especially the father, and you say to them what I just said, dad will turn around and say, yeah, I think you should go to school. And I think that you should take him to this school. And then because they're not feeling in a combative, antagonistic kind of scenario, but they say, well, however, to be honest, obviously things might have changed now. He normally adds a caveat because he's not feeling threatened. He got the respect that he wanted. He goes, this is what I think you should do. This is what I want you to do. But, and if you feel that he's not going to leave a little bit of a leeway for you, then you introduce the leeway. And you say, yeah, I've been thinking about that. There's definitely a strong argument for that. But, this is what's been happening now. And this is what's been happening. That's getting a lot better and whatever. But you're right, man. I am thinking about it. But let's see. And then, when you end it like that in a kind of, really conciliatory kind of way, then the person will say, yeah, look into it. Maybe you're right. And so what was theoretically going to be a tough situation doesn't turn into a tough situation anymore. This is something that I teach about how to influence people. And this is for those few that are going to cause a headache, that won't work in the normal system. So anyway, think about that. Okay, what I just said.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair, and that was so I think it is normally like sort of 0.3 that I'm looking at, and in that sort of parental figure. But sometimes with parents and like mothers, it can be a bit more emotional as well. So it's not necessarily about rational, but it's like, oh well, if you didn't do what they said, then that's the thing that upsets them. But
Yeah.
I know
So
sometimes you have to just do what's
that's
right, but you also want to please please them, for example, not for them not to be upset with you. So finding that balance is what I find the most difficult thing.
yeah, yeah. It's going to be case by case. There's going to be different people that have different tolerances, and as I said, I just believe that you've got to get people emotionally invested in something. It's a skill. It's a skill. It's not an Islamic rule or principle or whatever. It's a skill. It's a human skill. There are people that just by their nature are able to convince people. Like a lot of folks tell me that I have that ability. Like yesterday, Abid was saying that to me. Listen, they will follow you whatever you say, whatever you do. Right? They would. He was giving me the example. I had a question about, I want to do something in an Umrah program, and I don't feel completely convinced of it. Oh, sorry. I feel very convinced of it myself, but I know that people will not react to it like they should react to it, because people are emotional. People don't know, and I know. And he said that, bro, the last thing you need to worry about is that as long as you only give them this option and say, this is what I want you to do, they'll follow you, because you have that impact upon people. So the question is that, why is that? I don't know. Is that true? If it's true, that's a proof to you in the point I'm trying to make to you. People are very, very different. And people have different ways of, because I can tell you right now, I don't believe that I am very persuasive. Okay. But if I am, then I've got to understand I've got to try and break it down. I'm trying to understand what is it that's making me persuasive, and then find out that what is it that's making people be persuaded, because different people get persuaded by different things, right? There are some people that swear by Amazon reviews, and other people who swear that as long as that there are no Amazon reviews, that's the only thing that's going to make me buy something. That's how anti-Amazon reviews they are, because of all the fakeness that's there. And there are others that don't look at anything other than the first Amazon review, and that's the one they buy. People are persuaded by different things. You've got to identify it. You said people are emotion. Their emotions are different. Tolerances are different. No, when people ask me these questions, obviously I don't mind in this environment giving this detail, but I normally tell them that this is not a question for me. This is a question for you, because I don't know your mum. You know your mum. You're not asking me. You're asking me just for chatting purposes. You're not actually asking me something you don't know. So you are the one who knows your mom best, your son best, your uncle best, your boss best. You know their weak points, their this, their that. It's like every sibling knows. You want to. In my house, I'm useless. I am, and they have any issue, no problem. They all just get Hiba to go in and say, Hiba, go and ask Baba to do this. That's it. In the story. You had me at Assalamu alaikum Baba. That's it. I mean, every person has a weak point, has a way that you can be manipulated. You just got to identify it. All right.
Jazakallah khairan.
Right. I have a feeling that people are dead. Even, when you know that situation is dead, is that when people aren't even, Ya Tamir Fenik, Ya Ragul. Bring some life to this. I just want to know that you're there. Because I don't know. I think that you are just, I don't know. If I hear Tamir, at least come up and support the No Noodles crew, then I'll be happy. But I get a feeling that everyone's dead because the chat is dead. When the chat dies, khalas.
I am here and I'm listening to you, and I'm actually enjoying it very much. To the extent that I get lost with what you say. So that's how engaged I am. So I heard reply. I was like, okay. And then I actually forgot what you asked, and like, okay, man, this guy's really good. See? That proves that you're good, actually. Convincing people.
Where are you, man? What's going on? No salam, no nothing, wala kalam, wala shay, wala haga.
Habibi, anta fi qalbi. And you know that, right? And well, actually, I want to tell you that yesterday I actually started on the writing down my I'm calling it the Chronicles of a Haji.
Allahu Akbar.
And it's really interesting. There's a lot. The more you talk, actually, the more I feel that there's so much in common between us, and it's really interesting. And there's a lot of fun stuff that I have in mind, but I need to put it in writing.
Make
And
sure you put it in right.
don't feel
You
bad about what I'm going to say about you or any of
don't
the team.
feel we don't feel bad one little bit, bro. All the hate in the world, all the love in the world, it's all the same. It's all nostalgia, bro. It's all memories. It's all a buzz. Everybody doubted. Let's be honest. Everyone doubted this exercise, and then they started reading, and then they started seeing a few. Then they saw with dads, and they realized, right, there's some serious behavior going on here, and everyone realized how good this exercise is. Be honest, Tamir. Am I right or wrong?
Well, honestly, let me put it this way. I mean, like with ads and rifats, these are really like heavy writing, and sometimes I feel that it's way over my head, because anytime that I need to get a dictionary to find up look up a word, then yeah, I know this is way above my level. So like Karavis, I can't even pronounce it, whatever that is, and then you got this like rainbows and hugging and weaving. It's like, oh my God, this is like a different level, and I was like, okay,
in the
exactly.
tapestry of life and مش عارف الكلام ده يعني كلام فاضي ده يعني مش عارف ايه يعني what.
Allow me to jump in and say to Tamir, he's not alone. I had to look up the dictionary.
Exactly, right? And then it's like I'm actually, I've been like sitting there, and you will see that in my comments about my engagement with the Brits, and I call it my engagement with the Brits, because it's really funny. I mean, there are things that it's like you said, I listen a lot, and I like to. I'm more of an observer, and there's a lot of stuff that I picked up about the Brits and how they talk and what they say. It's some things that I really find fascinating, and I'm sure you guys see the same thing in us. Although I'm not, even, but then I'm Egyptian, so I do not consider myself I don't consider myself an American at all.
Well, you are, and you can't get rid of it that quick. Number one. Number two, we do obviously, but what we prefer more is to read about it. We are very, very much happy for you to take as much time as you want, but we are looking forward. But there has to be a forfeit. I for some reason, I just feel that there has to be a forfeit for the fact that you've been so quiet, that you've not been here. I don't know why, but you need to pay a forfeit. Are you willing to pay a forfeit?
Okay, so what does that mean now?
Okay, you really do need a bloody.
Exactly. Like I was sitting there right now. I was sitting here.
Are you ready to be put on the spot right now and answer a question and give me the answer regardless of my question?
I will do what I can. I mean, if it doesn't تخدش الحياة or anything, I will answer it.
No. You gotta accept this. Okay.
Go for it.
All right. A person recently wrote in a certain anonymous setting that I thought that my situation required. I'm leaving out key details so that it can't be.
Come on, man. Okay. No. Okay. I think I know where you're going. But you're talking about that unless it's me, right?
One second. I'm going to leave out key details, so that it doesn't become embarrassing, so that it doesn't expose Yani. Okay, so
no, I'm totally good.
So that only was that said in an anonymous setting. Was it you who said that? I thought that a certain situation was thingy, so I did the change, and then I realized that actually that the older situation was better than the new one. Just tell me.
Yes, sir. Yeah. No embarrassment about it, and yeah.
You sick guy. You know, I said, let me tell you something, man. I read that, and I thought to myself, I bet that's Tamir.
Didn't I explain why? I explained why.
No. Maybe you did, actually. Maybe you did, but
I did.
No. Maybe you did, but you got to understand that there was 400 pieces of thingy that I'm quickly going through to be able to try to make a decision on certain things. But
yeah.
the thing is, obviously, it's completely anonymized. Yeah, and it's just random statements. You got to understand, right? Everyone's saying, great, okay, no problem, great, okay, no problem, great, okay, no problem. 400 times, your mind goes bloody
Come
numb,
on.
bro.
How many came out and said, I want something, and you actually did? Was it that much?
I'm a people pleaser, man. Come on, bro. Come on, man. I'm a nice guy, man.
Okay.
يلا
Yeah.
خلاص.
So,
That's enough.
yeah.
That's enough. We have overtrust on American Muslims. بس خلاص. بس خلاص. يلا. جزاك الله
بشوقك يا
خير.
باشا.
الله يبارك.
حبيبي.
Right, ladies and
Shay,
gentlemen. Anybody else?
can I quickly get a
Aziz.
question in? Yes.
Yes, you can.
Okay. This is kind of going back a little bit. So you mentioned
Aziz,
homeschooling.
is Cry Boys the best cry on this planet?
I don't think so, but
Right.
I think that's
What's
an
better than Cry
unpopular
Boys?
opinion. I like Cry
What's
Point.
better? Ah.
I like
Is
Cry
it
Point,
also
but
100? Is it also something stupid like $100 a cry though?
oh no, I don't know actually. It's been a while.
Because Cry Boys is great, but it's so expensive. It's like, I think it's like $80 or something stupid.
Really? You know what? I haven't checked in a while.
Okay, I just want to know that the other one, if it's good enough and it's half the price, I'm there. I'm all about Cry.
I
I've got
might
no
be Cry
loyalty in
hopping
it.
because of you, Sheikh, just to give you an answer.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, I've got no loyalty in this game, man. It's all about the value and price and good try. Right, sorry, go ahead. I interrupted.
Awesome. So earlier when you were talking about homeschooling, one thing you mentioned was like the father's involvement. And then for me personally, like we have 3 girls. So, I mean, especially at their ages, they're like young. So I'm pretty much involved. Do you see that the recommendation for the father to be involved is like different based on the gender of the children, or what would that involvement look like?
100%. There's different levels at different times. And even there's no absolute gold, super hard, fast rule as well, because some kids are different, right? Mm-hmm. So, sometimes you do need, you identify certain traits and characteristics that require a little bit of an extra focus from one side. There's no absolute golden, hard fast rule, but there's a general rule. And a general rule is when the kids are younger, dad's not so involved, both genders. And when the kids are girls, dad's not so important. And to the boys, a bit more. So that's acceptable. Don't fall into the trap that for the sake of whatever, the men just got to be involved just for the sake that, he's got to be involved. No, it's all about improving the situation, bringing value to the table. You know what I mean?
Okay. That answers the question, yeah.
Barakallahu feek, Aziz. All right. I think we're done. No one's asking anything, saying anything. So I will say Jazakumullah khair for your company. I have to tell you that I feel very comfortable amongst you folks. Anyone who's watching this online, can you imagine there are people that are watching this online? They're going to watch this 4-hour podcast video and they'll be like, what the hell is going on? But we don't care. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. Maybe we do this again in a couple of months. Please stay active in a group. You lazy packies, man. Nobody hasn't done the reviews, man. Like 10 reviews on Facebook. If you don't have Facebook, write an email, man. Lazy, disloyal, treacherous packies. All of you, got some sharam, man. No sharam. As for those people that did write, shout out to you people. Jazakumullah khair. Take your time on the memory pieces. Make it memorable. Make it nice. Shout out to Widad for being here and setting up the call. Shout out to everybody else. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. All of you should say this, by the way, folks, because we said some good stuff and we said some bakwas as well. So this is the kafara for the majlis. This means that this is a statement which inshallah covers us from any sins that come from our gathering. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruk wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you guys.
Wa alaikum assalam.